Want to get behind the highlight? There's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live, or go back and rewatch previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, the Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Mine is Kev Nash for one more day right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I'm Justin Kinner. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I think it was a weekend full of mixed emotions for a lot of you out there, especially those of you who are Bengals fans / Buckeye fans or Browns fans / Buckeye fans, because it was a great weekend and a bad weekend. Both the Browns and the Bengals won on Sunday. The Buckeyes lose to that team up north on Saturday. So it was just a range of emotions coming off of the holiday Thanksgiving Day weekend, of course. But excited to be with you here this afternoon. And let's hit the ground running, shall we? Lots of emotions coming off of Ohio State's troublesome 45-23 loss against that team up north. And there's a lot to dive into on today's show, of course. I mean, we still have Luke Fickle leaving Cincinnati, now a Badger. He's in the Big Ten with Wisconsin. Matt Ruhle now taking over at Nebraska. We'll get to that around the corner, of course. The Browns, they get a big win against Tom Brady, setting up the return of Deshaun Watson, what that means for the Browns moving forward. And the Bengals keep chugging along. That defense stepped up for them yesterday. Offense, not very efficient, but they did just enough, and that defense kept them in it the entire time. So we'll talk about the Bengals win and what that means for them, as they're honestly, outside of the Chiefs and the Dolphins, I think they're the third hottest team in the AFC right now. So we'll talk about that coming up around the corner, but let's get into it. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Ohio State fans, I think we are spoiled and we are entitled and we're acting like a big bunch of babies. I'm not going to lie. Like, we're acting like a big bunch of crybabies. And I mean this respectfully, but get the hell over it. Come on, like, you all need to pull yourselves together here. All right? You guys are acting like Luke Fickle. You're acting like the season's over and you're quitting on your team. All right? You don't quit on your team when there's still a game left. Ohio State still has either a Rose Bowl left or maybe, just maybe a college football playoff appearance still left. All right? But you're acting like a bunch of Luke Fickles, quitting on your team before the season's even over. So y'all need to calm the heck down and realize that you guys are acting like a bunch of spoiled, entitled brats right now. It stinks losing to that team up north. But outside of losing to that team up north, the one difference between this season and last season is the Buckeyes still have a chance to make the college football playoffs. When Ohio State lost to Michigan last year, that was their second loss of the season. There was no way that they were going to get into the playoff, and that's what made last year even worse to me. But we just watched Ohio State, Michigan, and I keep hearing everyone say, well, man, we might have to wait another whole year. We have to wait another whole year for this matchup again. We may not have to wait another full year for this matchup again. There's still a very good possibility that these two teams can run into one another come college football playoff time. Hell, they could still run into each other in the national championship game. Y'all could roll your eyes. Y'all could say that I'm thinking, that I'm being a homer or whatever. I'm not being a homer. Ohio State, they stunk on Saturday. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right. But Michigan stunk last week. All right. And then they played really well this past week. Like, the thing is, it just stinks when you're undefeated. One of those two teams has to lose. We're used to watching that team up north lose, and they've been able to get the best of Ohio State the last 2 years. Good for them. They went into the shoe. They did exactly what they were supposed to. Ohio State, they didn't do what they were supposed to. And now we get to sit back and do the finger-pointing game of who's to blame. Is it Ryan Day? Is it C.J. Stroud? Whose fault is it? Is it Jim Knowles? Who is it? Is it the SEC bias now that is going to keep the Buckeyes out? I mean, what's going on here? there's so many different directions I could take the reaction to the loss from over the weekend, and I'm not really sure where to go, to be quite honest with you. But I'm going to kind of go with where my emotions taking me as far as the things that are standing out most to me. Ohio State, the final of that came down about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock on Saturday. And when that game ended, I mean, it was just immediate emotion, immediate anger. Ohio State, we stink. We don't deserve to be in the playoff. That was the initial reaction. And now the last 2 days is that it's kind of calmed down a little bit. The one constant message that continues to roll out is Ryan Day's the problem. Ryan Day's the problem. He's Ryan Cooper, right? Like he's Ryan Cooper now. And look, the bottom line is this is a coach that has won 45 games and lost 5 times. His 5 losses, Alabama in the national championship game, Clemson in the college football playoff, Oregon a top 25, top 10. All right. Every loss that they've had has been against a top 10 opponent. Ryan Day has never lost to an unranked opponent. He's never lost to anyone outside of the top 10. Every opponent that Ryan Day has lost to has been in the top 10. Period. Losing to Alabama in the national championship game, Clemson in the college football playoff, top 10 Oregon at home. Not that I'm not making an excuse, but if you're going to lose to a team, at least it's a top 10 opponent. And then that crappy team up north, losing twice the last back-to-back season. All right, you look at the success that Ryan Day has had at Ohio State. We're going to talk about this now. I mean, 2 college football playoff appearances. He's 2-2 in the playoffs, a national championship appearance, a Big Ten title, a Rose Bowl, dominates in recruiting. And I'm here to tell you that as great as that resume sounds, I expect more. But what you guys are complaining about, I think you guys sound real silly right now. You guys actually buy in too much to this idea that the only game that matters is Michigan. I still think that's a stupid philosophy, because if the only game that matters is Michigan, why do they still have a chance to make the playoff? If the only game that matters is Michigan, why is it that Ohio State could still end up winning a national championship this year? The reason I'm praying to God that Ohio State makes the playoff this year, and the reason I'm praying to God that they go on to win a national championship, is so that I could tell all of y'all to shove it with the over-dramatized rivalry matchup of Michigan. They are a rival. Yes, there seems to be a lot more flair back in the rivalry now that Michigan's finally come to life and is trying to be an adult now, so good for them. But let's be clear. This idea that, the reason that it matters is because you got to beat them to win a national championship. Well, you also got to beat Indiana. You also got to beat Penn State. Ohio State could have lost at any point throughout this season, and the same message would have been delivered there. Well, you got to beat that team to get to the playoff to have a chance to make the play or to win a national championship. I don't want to hear that. This is the problem I have with Ryan Day. The problem is this is year 4, and it might be the second time in 4 years they missed the playoff. That's the problem I have. Last year they could have beat Michigan, or, last year if they didn't miss the playoff last year because they lost to Michigan. That's one way you want to spin it. They missed the playoff last year because they lost to Oregon. They lose to Michigan last year, just like this year. They're undefeated. Ohio State's going to miss the playoff this year, not because they lost to Michigan. All right. It's because, either TCU and USC are going to win this coming up weekend. But if TCU or USC loses this coming up weekend, Ohio State's back in the playoff. It's not even up for debate. What are y'all concerned about? What are y'all mad about? Don't tell me that, the only way to make the playoff or the only way to win a national championship is to beat that team up north. That's not the only way. It makes it a lot simpler. It makes it a lot easier. But, man, I think we're doing the wrong thing here by not holding Ryan Day accountable for what actually matters, and that's not winning national championships. All right, because he beat Michigan the first 2 years. All right. Well, he didn't beat Michigan the second year. They didn't play Michigan that year because Michigan, backed out of that game, of course. But Ohio State, they didn't need to beat Michigan that year to go on to get to the national championship game. They beat Michigan the year before that, who was a bad Michigan team. They go on to get to the college football playoff again. You don't need to. I don't care about that team up north. It's about national championships. This is a championship or bust program. We talked about this about a month and a half ago. All right. This isn't a beat Michigan or bust program, because if they lost to Michigan this year, you're saying, well, that's it. The season's a failure. What if they go on to make the playoff and win a national championship still? You guys are more mad that they lost to Michigan than you are when they don't win a national championship. That's the problem I have. You can't sit there and say that beating this one opponent is the only thing that matters. That is the weirdest thing. I will give up my Buckeye fandom card if that's really the mindset, the real mindset, the mindset of, the only thing that matters is beating Michigan. Who cares if we don't win a national championship as long as we beat Michigan? That is a loser mentality, and I will not support it. It stinks that they lost to Michigan a couple days ago. But the only thing I've done since then is turn my focus right towards the pattern of, how can they get back into the playoff? I'm not even 1,000,000% convinced that they're not going to be number 4 when the rankings come out tomorrow. Think about it. Everyone just assumes USC is going to be placed right at 4. USC could potentially be placed at 4. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But at the same time, USC has been kept at an arm's length away by the committee for how many weeks now? Every week since the playoff, rankings came out. Ohio State played poor against Northwestern. The committee kept them at 2. Why? Well, because, we know it's Ohio State, right? It's the Buckeyes. They played poor against Penn State. But you know what? It's okay because it's the Buckeyes. They played poor against Maryland. Didn't matter. Keep them at 2 because it's the Buckeyes. So now all of a sudden, because their only loss of the season comes to what will now be the new number 2 team in the country, now all of a sudden the committee is going to say the Buckeyes stink, get them out of here. No. Why should USC, with their best win of the season being against Notre Dame by 11, which is the exact same point differential that Ohio State won by against that same Notre Dame team, if Ohio State and USC, their resumes are dead even right now, and I don't think they're dead even because they both have 1 loss, both have 2 quality wins. That's it. Ohio State beat Penn State, which is currently ranked higher than the other quality win that USC has, which is Utah. They're a 3-loss team, by the way. All right, and they both beat Notre Dame at home. So the Notre Dame win washes out. Don't care about it. Don't care about it at all. Both teams beat top 25 Notre Dame team, right? That one washes out. So now it comes down to the second best win that Ohio State has and that, that USC has. Ohio State, they've beat Penn State. Good for them. Obviously, they beat Utah. Or they beat UCLA, who's also further back in the rankings. I don't really care. I don't care. Ohio State should be ranked ahead of USC when the polls come out tomorrow. But y'all need to stop overreacting and panicking. You could be upset that they lost to that team up north, but to say that Ryan Day needs fired, come on. Ryan Day needs fired if they don't make the playoff this year. As of right now, the season's not over, and as of right now, they still have a chance to make the playoff. I will be upset with Ryan Day in, an exact week from now. When I come in and do the show on Monday, I will be all about it's time to start thinking about moving on from Ryan Day if they miss the college football playoff for the second straight year. This is a championship or bust program, which means your expectation is to go win a national championship. They lost to Michigan. That stinks, but it's their only loss of the season. They've been number 2 the entire time. They still have a chance to get to the playoff, and the window to win a national championship is still live. You guys call me a hater all season long because I'm critical after some of these wins. And by the way, I was right. Everything I pointed out about the deficiencies of Ohio State that would come back to haunt them at some point that you guys called me a hater for, guess what? I ended up being right about it, huh? So there you go. All I'm saying is I'm not freaked out yet because at the end of the day, they lost to Michigan. But if their chance to still win the national championship is open, and it is, my emotions aren't all over the place yet. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to see what happens. I'm going to wait to see what the polls look like tomorrow night. I'm going to wait to see what happens in the Pac-12 championship and the Big 12 championship. TCU and, if either TCU or USC loses, Ohio State's in the playoff. And then guess what? They have an opportunity to potentially run into Michigan again. Or if they don't run into Michigan again, who cares? They have a chance to win a national championship. Because let's stop with this. If Ryan Day goes on to win a national championship this year, are you going to really be calling for his head because he lost to Michigan 2 straight years? No. He's going to, if he brings a national championship to Columbus this year, you're going to put him up on that pedestal, the same pedestal that you put, obviously, Tressel on and Urban Meyer on for winning national championships. You're going to do the same thing for Ryan Day. And if he wins you a national championship and you're still throwing a temper tantrum because he lost to that team up north, then I don't like this fan base, and I'm not going to be an Ohio State fan anymore because I don't want to associate with that kind of mindset that winning a national championship, we're too good for that. The only thing we care about is beating that team up north. Give me a break. Give me a break. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. That's all I got to say about that. I know I'm kind of sporadic with the open to this. We did our instant reaction on Saturday after the game. And I'm not happy about it either. Ryan Day has a lot of the same dumb answers for why they lost to Michigan this year like they did last year. I'm upset about it too. But the thing is, Nick Saban had a lot of dumb answers as to why they lost to LSU. Nick Saban had a lot of dumb answers as to why they lost to Tennessee. Tennessee had a lot of dumb answers as far as why they lost to Georgia. And yet all those teams and those fan bases, they still feel like, well, we got a puncher's chance here. So why shouldn't we enjoy the same thing? The bottom line is the season's not over. If they lost to Michigan and that was the second loss of the season like last year and we knew for sure that the season's done, fine. But you guys are acting like Luke Fickle right now, quitting on your team before the season's over, and I'm not cool with that. The season's not over. The Buckeyes still have a playoff chance, and a very, very good one at that. This isn't like a long shot. We're sitting here like TCU and USC. They're one possession favorites this weekend. It's not like Michigan, who's like a 16-point favorite over their opponent. Ohio State, if they were playing Purdue, they'd probably be a 24-point favorite in the Big Ten championship game. All right? Like, let's be real. Relax. Be angry about the Michigan game, but the Michigan game ramifications only matter to me if it leads to them not making the playoff. Then I'll be upset. But losing to Michigan, what happens if they make the playoff? Run into Michigan again, kick their ass in the playoff, going to win a national championship. Then what? I don't care about what just happened at the shoe over the weekend. Y'all could cry about it. I'm not. Phone lines are open. I see a lot coming in the chat section. I'm going to get to this. I'm going to read all this coming up in just a moment, but y'all need to chill. Y'all need to chill. It's fire Ryan Day stuff. He's 45-5 as a head coach. His only losses, 2 to Michigan, 1 to top 10 Oregon, 1 to Alabama, the national championship, and the other one to Clemson. The guy doesn't lose. All he does is win. You got to be careful what you ask for sometimes. The bottom line is the only thing I care about is the college football playoff and national championships. And so if Ryan Day doesn't make the college football playoff this year, while y'all make the whole season about one stupid game, I'm going to be angry about the entire college football playoff that Ohio State's not a part of once again. Y'all make it about one game. I'm going to make it about what really matters, and that's winning national championships, because you don't get all those 4 and 5 stars to not make the playoff and not win a national championship. And don't tell me that you can't do that unless you beat Michigan. They just lost to Michigan, and there's a very good chance they're going to still be in the college football playoff. So that theory is not true. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, 518-1410. You heard my reaction. I want to hear yours when we come back.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Freaking chicken chunks, freaking chicken chunks, freaking chicken chunks, freaking chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of freaking chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits a $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 freaking bonus bucks free. Let them get what they really want.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Ohio, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day. DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at DKNG.co/OH.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Justin Kinner back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. We're going to step away for 30 more seconds. A quick technical fix we have to address real quick. We'll be right back, 30 seconds. Back to the calls. I see we have Tyrell. I see we have Don and Eric and a Mike and a couple other angry Buckeye fans with me right now. I'm not sure why the Buckeye fans are mad at me. I just said that there's still a chance we can make the playoffs. I don't know what they're all mad about, but we'll be right back. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash in just about 60 seconds at the tops.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on a Monday. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. I thought I'd be more fired up and angry about what happened on Saturday. I think it's just by having a couple days to digest what happened. Here's the other thing, too. I think one of the reasons, and by the way, I predicted Ohio State to blow out that team up north. And I still think to this day, don't really care. I think Ohio State is still you mean to tell me, let's be clear, if you go to Nick Saban, if you go to Dabo Swinney, you go to Jimbo Fisher, you go to Heupel, you go to every coach in the country. Take every coach that has their team in the top 15 right now and say, all right, you got to pick the roster for Ohio State or the roster for Michigan. Which one you taking? Every single coach, even Harbaugh, khaki pants himself, is going to take Ohio State's roster. Let's just be real. Good for Michigan. I'm not downplaying what they did because they pulled off the upset. Good for them. The whole reason I had been knocking the rivalry for as long as I have is because there was nothing significant about it other than the history of the rivalry. It was one-sided. It was one-sided from a conference domination standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, from an on-the-field standpoint, from a national relevancy standpoint. I mean, that wasn't a hot take. That's just common sense. Don't be dumb. It's that simple. Now Michigan starting to make a little noise back in this rivalry. Now it's back to Michigan and Ohio State fans can finally start screaming at one another, and Michigan fans won't be dumb this time for doing it because they have a couple wins now in their back pocket to be able to use as ammo. It was amazing to me, the Michigan fans that used to argue with us all the time back when they were just getting their blank beat in every single year. But the bottom line is Michigan, you have one coach. I understand the frustration with Ryan Day. Let's just be clear. The reason that Ohio State has a championship or bust expectation and Michigan has a finish above 500 and compete for a Big Ten championship or bust mindset is because the talent on the roster justifies it. When you look at the talent that's on the roster of Ohio State, that's what makes it a championship or bust program. The reason I can't look at Michigan's roster and say that's a championship or bust program is because I'm not going to put any stock into that being a championship or bust program. Hell, Michigan getting to the playoff this year, is anyone going to put money on them winning a national championship? No. Because they're not going to win a national championship. This is their Super Bowl, getting to the playoff. Ohio State getting to the playoff, that's like the baseline expectation. So that's why I said, to reset how I opened the show today, when you look at the fact that there's 2 weeks technically left in the season, 1 week left in the season, as far as things that can happen to impact the season, I'm not going to be as hard on Ryan Day at this exact moment because the season's not done. I'm not going to quit on my team like I'm Luke Fickle or something. There's still games left to be played. I'm not a quitter like Luke Fickle. Can anyone pick up on the fact that I think Luke Fickle is a quitter for quitting on his team with a game left? That's a bum week move, and you don't do that to take a Wisconsin job. Oh, it's a destination job. No, it's not. Sorry to slip another hot take in the middle of already a hot take here, but my goodness, I'm so irritated with what he did to Cincinnati. Don't even get me started. But the bottom line is as far as I'm concerned right now, I'm not mad at Ryan Day until I know for sure that they're not going to be in the college football playoff. Because if Ohio State, if TCU or USC loses their conference championship game on Saturday, guess what? Ohio State's in. Not up for debate. It's not a hot take. It's common sense. You're the number 2 team the entire season, and you lose to who is now the new number 2 team in the country, and now all of a sudden that's supposed to just end your season. All while we're going to actually try and talk about, so USC can lose a game to a much worse opponent, and they're going to get into the college, like they're being considered for the college football playoff. Stop it. Stop. That's ridiculous. You guys know it. I'm not, look, you guys could be mad at Ohio State for losing to that team up north. More power to you. But like I said, my expectation for this program is a playoff or bust, national championship or bust program. So I'm not angry until Selection Sunday when the final 4 teams are announced, when the top 4 teams are announced. And if Ohio State's not in teams 1, 2, 3, or 4, now I'll be screaming for Ryan Day's seat to be warm. Now, because y'all try to pretend and hype up this Ohio State-Michigan thing like it's all about the game. Ryan Day said, oh, I didn't sleep for 365 days. Finally, after we beat Michigan, I'll be able to sleep at night. Stop it. You're a millionaire with a beautiful family, a gigantic, big-ass freaking home, and you're losing sleep at night. Stop it, Ryan Day. Stop it. I don't believe you. But you have to talk up the rivalry because when really, Ryan Day, the only thing that you should be losing sleep about is not getting to the playoff and not winning a national championship. Losing to Oregon cost them the playoff last year, not Michigan. They could have lost to Michigan last year, and they would have been that 4th member of the college football playoff over Cincinnati. They didn't not make it because they lost to Michigan. They didn't make the playoff last year because they lost to Oregon. Stop saying you have to beat Michigan to get anywhere you need to go. That's not true. It's not true. And I'm telling you right now, don't be surprised if tomorrow they're sitting at number 4. And I can make a lot of good arguments as to why that is. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Or you can follow the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. I appreciate everyone that's hanging out with us on that side of things to get some of your reaction. Let's see. Billy Wright. Billy, hope you're doing well. Let me make this to where everyone can actually read this. There we go. I'm getting old. I can't read half these things. I have to squint and yeah, it's weird. I hate getting older, man. Billy Wright said, wrong, 2-loss Bama will get in. How could you Billy, stop. And I like Billy a lot, and I'm not saying I don't like you because you have an opinion that I don't agree with, but like that's not, Alabama's not getting in. 2-loss Alabama with no conference championship over 1-loss Ohio State. Alabama has 2 losses against top 10 teams, but Ohio State's only loss is against the number 2 team in the country and most likely going to be the Big Ten champion. I totally disagree with that. John Harvey, Brian Hartline needs to be the next UC coach. We'll get to that coming up later on in the show as far as I'm concerned. Jeremy Babacar, Bucks 1 losses against the 3rd-ranked team. USC's losses against Utah, big difference. It's a ginormous difference. That's why I think Ohio State still tomorrow is going to drop to 4. I don't think Ohio State's out of the top 4 tomorrow. I think the committee puts them at 4 tomorrow. I think that USC still stays at 5 because it's a safe move for the committee. You move Ohio State to 4 because you've had them at 2 the whole season. They lose to the new number 2 team in college football, and now you want to just knock them out of the playoff picture completely? No. I think it's a safe bet to move them to 4, keep USC at 5, with the caveat being that, hey, USC, Ohio State's not playing this weekend. USC, you go win your conference championship. Guess what? Now you take the 4 spot over Ohio State. Ohio State has to keep an eye on TCU and USC. That's it. That's it. All right. Continuing to move down this. Let's see. I can't read that one. Yeah, I have to go through and read some of that. I can't put some of these. Anyways, 518-1410. Let's go to Tyrell. Tyrell, welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Blah. Oh, you sound just like a minion right now. Blah, 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 blah. All you're trying to do is soften the blow. First of all, Ohio State is not making the playoffs. I'm going to tell you why they're not making the playoffs, and they're definitely not going to be ranked 4 tomorrow.
And why is
their
that?
Their only good quality win would have been against Michigan. And guess what, Justin? I agree with you. If they would have lost by a field goal, you know what? Your argument is right. But not only did they lose, but they got ran over, thrown over. They got embarrassed at home against an underdog, which is Michigan. Nobody expected us to win. So we went into the horseshoe, embarrassed Ohio State, completely dominated them on every side of the football. They're not going to be ranked
dominated.
4th.
You guys didn't pull away till the middle of the fourth quarter. Don't give me that nonsense.
It doesn't matter.
I'm not poo-pooing on what you guys did. I'm going to give you credit for
Justin.
I'm going to give you credit for the win, but stop acting like you just kicked their ass.
The third quarter, it was over, Justin.
You are delusional.
It was over in the third quarter. Ohio State gave up in the third quarter when they realized that we can run the ball. Ohio State was selling out the entire game to try to stop the run. And they did a pretty decent job the first half. But then they gave up 2 critical mistakes, gave us confidence to throw the ball. Third quarter, we reestablished and ran the ball down your throats. I love you, but you know that's fact.
You guys won. I'm not here debating what happened, but to act like you dominated for 4 full quarters is stupid.
No. We didn't dominate for all 4 quarters. We dominated for the second half because we're a second half team.
Quarter. A second half.
We dominated for the second half.
I can tell you guys are new to this winning thing because
you
say
sound like
second half team.
All I hear from your mouth, Justin, is Ohio State privilege. Oh, beating or losing to Michigan doesn't matter as long as we get to the playoff. As long as we do this, you are crazy. I live in Ohio and I'm a Michigan fan. The only thing that matters to me is beating Ohio State because I have to hear from Ohio State fans. And I can promise you, the only thing that matters to Ohio State fans is beating Michigan, regardless if we suck or if we're good, because that's the season. That's it. That's it. I mean, in this part of the country, that's it. That is the game. That's what matters.
So if Ohio State makes the playoffs, should we just we're going to decline it because we couldn't even beat that embarrassing team up north. So we're just going to decline our playoff invitation.
You're downplaying like, it doesn't matter because as long as Ohio State gets to the playoffs, all will be okay.
That should matter.
No, you know what? Yes, you're right. In another part of the country, Justin, you're absolutely right. But not in this part of the country. You're absolutely wrong on that point.
That's stupid.
And guess what? Your argument will be valid when we expand the playoffs to 12 teams, because then at that point, it's not going to matter because Ohio State and Michigan will get in every single year, regardless of who wins or who loses the matchup. So your argument will be valid when they expand the playoffs. But you're not going to sit here and try to convince me that Ohio State fans, all they care about is the playoffs. They care about beating Michigan. And Ryan Day has lost 2 in a row to Michigan. And I don't care what you say. He will be the next John Cooper. He will win 10 and 11 games every single year. But what happens when he goes to Ann Arbor next year and loses? That will be 3 losses in a row to Michigan. You really think Ohio State fans are going to be like, you know what? As long as you get to the playoffs, you're okay. I absolutely don't agree with that. That's asinine. That is absolutely asinine, Justin, and I love you, but that is a wrong take. You're speaking as a national fan, not a local fan right now. I love you.
Adios, but let's just be clear one bit. What you are saying is that so beating Michigan is the only thing that matters. Winning a championship doesn't matter. Getting to the playoffs doesn't matter. So if I'm right and Ohio State does end up getting to the playoff because USC or TCU loses this coming up weekend, then I don't want one of y'all losers to be cheering on Ohio State in the playoff. You hear that? Every one of you losers, I don't care how many Buckeye fans I have listening to the show, y'all can kick rocks. Y'all are an embarrassment then. Y'all are really going to sit there. And then, by the way, don't let Tyrell speak for you. Are you guys that dumb that you guys are going to say that the only thing that matters is that one game, that we don't care if we make the playoff because we lost to Michigan? We don't care if we win a national championship because we lost to Michigan. That's what you're trying to tell me. That's embarrassing. And that's the most loser mindset ever. It's about championships. It's about winning national championships. That's all that matters. If Auburn upsets Alabama, you think Nick Saban, I'm sure he cares about losing to Auburn, but that's because Nick Saban cares about every team he loses to. Nick Saban is sick to his stomach that they lost to LSU. He's sick to his stomach because they lost to Tennessee. But you mean to tell me that if Indiana beats Ohio State, that Ryan Day is like, well, it sucks that we lost a bad Indiana team, but hey, at least we didn't lose to that team. If you don't treat every loss like it is the worst thing in the world, then you're a loser. That's insane. So it doesn't matter who we lose to as long as it's not Michigan. I don't want to win a national championship unless we beat Michigan. That is crazy. And those are just repeated, regurgitated propaganda talking points that has just been fed to us since we were born about the rivalry. It's very important to beat that team up north. And I'd be bragging like crazy if they beat the team up north. But the bottom line is all of y'all out there who want to fold up the tent and say, well, we lost to Michigan. We don't even deserve to be in the playoff. That's stupid. And if that's the case, I hope a 2-loss Alabama gets in. You guys are why, by the way, you all want to wonder why the SEC just means more. It's because of stupidity, like the conversation we're having today. We don't care about winning a national championship. We just care about beating that team up north. Loser. Well, Alabama, Nick Saban is out campaigning for his team right now. He is doing national radio hits all over the place, pushing to get his team into the college football playoff. Do you think he's saying, well, we weren't good enough to beat LSU, so I don't know. I guess we shouldn't be a play. No. This is why the SEC is better than every other conference and every other team out there, is because it just means more, because they know what really matters. Playoffs, championships. Not beating one team on the schedule every single year. Give me a break. 518-1410. Let's go to, I think this is, let's go to Don. Don, thanks for holding, sir. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
I think I'm okay.
All right. I would say if I heard your take on Saturday, I probably would have been upset with you. But now that I'm like on Monday, my emotions have calmed down. And all right, I look at it two ways. I think I want, if I could get us, if we're in the playoffs and we do well, or at least, play well, or even if we got the national championship, that would be great revenge for me for this year. And that would be like, yeah, I'm okay. We got there. We played well, maybe get to the championship game, maybe win it. I think that would be great. And I think that would ease my pain from Saturday. So I'm kind of, I want that situation. I think Ohio State, they laid an egg and they know it. And I think they want to prove one more time that they're the team that everybody thinks they are. So if they get in and can show that they're the team that everybody thinks they are, man, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I'm for us,
No, it's just amazing to me that you see other teams lose, and like USC. USC is not saying, well, man, we're about to, if we win our conference championship, that's great, but we lost to, we already had a loss this year, so we've lost to Utah, so I don't know. I don't think we should they have another chance to beat Utah, and they're going to try and redeem themselves, and they'll make it fine. Ohio State, get to the playoff. I don't even care if you don't even run into Michigan in the playoff. I don't care if it's Ohio State versus Georgia in the opening round. They beat Georgia and then go on to face TCU in the national championship, because I'm going to pick TCU to beat Michigan because I hate Michigan at this point. So that's going to be my takeaway. I never wanted Ohio State versus TCU, but I want it so bad right now.
I mean, when I sat down and I read the scenarios, like USC and TCU both easily can lose their championship game. It's not a guarantee. I think, Utah, despite their record, is still a tough team. They still got good players. They still got, NFL players on their team. And then I think Kansas State actually gave TCU a game until the second half during the regular season. But I'm just sitting there like, you know what? I want to take, your take. And if we get to the playoffs, championships matter. And that's where Ohio State under Urban Meyer has been going, is it's all about getting to the playoffs and getting the championships. We've been enjoying just beating the mess out of Michigan for the past 20 years, and all of a sudden we lose a couple times and now we're ready to fall down like it's into the world. I mean, we're upset. Yes, we don't like to lose because we knew we were better and knew we could beat them. But it's just, for some reason, they got in our head that game. They're not the better team. They just got in our head that game. And we just collapsed. But, knowing that we can get in the playoffs, that gives my spirits hope, and I'll take that take. Hey, we can get in the playoffs. We still have a chance to compete for a national championship. And if we come away winning it, that Michigan loss doesn't look so bad.
No, I'm with you. And Don, I appreciate the call, my man. Thank you. Appreciate you. So David Shaw, what up, Mr. Shaw? He goes, Ohio State has to hope for other teams to lose instead of controlling their own destiny. I very well get that. And if Michigan would have lost to Ohio State, Michigan would have also had to sit back and not control their own destiny. Alabama, there's a lot of teams not controlling their own destiny right now that still have a chance to make the playoffs. They're not quitting on their season. They're sitting back and saying, we still have a shot. Let's go. Ohio State fans curling up in the fetal position, just bawling their eyes out because they didn't beat that team up north. And I'm like, yes, I'm angry that they lost to that team up north, but I'm angry anytime they lose. I was pissed last year when they lost to Oregon. I was pissed when they lost to Michigan. I was pissed when they got beat by Alabama in the national championship game. I was pissed the year before that when they got beat by Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl in the college football playoffs. So you should be mad at every loss. Some sting more than others, but it should never sting to the point to where your team, who's been the number 2 team in the country the entire MFing season, they lose, and now Buckeye fans, you actually, I heard Buckeye fans when they saw the Michigan planting the flag in the middle of the block, act like you've been there before. Well, Ohio State, act like you've lost before. This isn't completely foreign to you. My God, you're so spoiled, so entitled, so embarrassing. Knock it off. Be pissed off that you lost to Michigan. Call in and talk smack to that crappy team up north and continue that. But this idea that the season is over because you lost to that team up north is just stupid. Because, like I said, USC loses, TCU loses. Guess what? You're in. And are you going to decline the invitation because you didn't beat that team up? No. If anything, Ryan Day, the best thing that can happen for Ryan Day to cool the seat a little is making the playoff. Because I'm going to be more upset for Ryan Day for missing the playoff 2 straight years than I am him losing to Michigan 2 straight years. And for those of you out there saying, well, yeah, he missed the playoff 2 straight years because he lost to Michigan 2 straight years. No, he missed the playoff 2 straight years because last year, all right, he lost to Oregon. You lose to Michigan last year. If Michigan was their first loss of the season last year, they're in the college football playoff. So that theory doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You're saying, well, you have to beat Michigan to get to the playoff. You have to beat Penn State. What happens if Ohio State would have lost to Penn State? They're not in the Big Ten championship then too. So what's the matter? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense. Stop trying to make it sound like there's some kind of gate to heaven and it's through Michigan. That's not true. 518-1410. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Let's see. Someone had sent something in that caught my attention earlier. Richard Boyd. Losing to Michigan puts OSU playoff hopes in jeopardy. You can't disagree by making excuses for the program. What? I'm not making excuses for the program. What do you guys think? What are you guys hearing right now? I'm not saying it's not a big deal that they lost to Michigan. It is a big deal, but losses happen. Alabama, they have 2 losses. They're fighting harder to make the playoff than the team that just lost for the first time all season. The fan base, y'all stink. Man, what are we talking about? Brian, of course, having to bring the Bengals up. My goodness, here we go. The Bengals played for a championship last year, but you keep throwing in our face that the Browns beat the Bengals twice. Dude, Gumby couldn't stretch that far. This has nothing to do with anything. I don't say the Bengals getting to the Super Bowl doesn't matter because they lost to the Browns twice. What I always say to the moronic Bengals fans who anytime I try to be happy about the Browns on anything, y'all like to bring up, oh yeah, talk to me when you get to the playoffs, talk to me when you get to the Super Bowl. Then I throw in the face that, yeah, you guys, no matter what you guys do, just keep in mind the team that you're making fun of, you can't seem to beat. I throw that in your face. I don't sit there and say, yeah, your Super Bowl run didn't matter because you couldn't beat the Browns last year. So Brian, get out of here with that garbage. Get out of here with that garbage. 518-1410, 518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. My goodness. Appreciate everyone hanging out on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. You could jump in on the conversation there. David Shaw, Justin, relax. Brian is agreeing with you. I can't tell who's agreeing with me. I'm just swinging on everybody at this point. I have no clue what's happening. Like everything in life. All right, I see the phones blinking off the hook. I'm a one-man show today, okay? One-man show today. So I'm going to go to these little paid advertisements that keep this show running every day, so you have to put up with me. And I'm going to get you guys on hold so I can hear y'all complain for a little bit. All right, 518-1410. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
Make the big game sound even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors, short throw projectors from 100-inch to 130-inch, all the way to your high-end dream system. Audio Etc has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back-ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on a TV and your dream system today. Audio Etc can bring any big game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. If you can't afford your dream system, check out our huge selection of vintage and pre-owned components. Audio Etc, powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. 551 Congress Park Drive in Centerville.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
Would you like to save hundreds of dollars on your real estate taxes? Celebrate the holidays with the gift of a lower tax bill. This is Montgomery County Auditor Carl Keith, and if you're a homeowner age 65, reapply. New applicants are subject to an income test. Visit our website for more information at mcauditor.org or call 937-225-4341. That hotline number again is 937-225-4341. And remember, the deadline to apply is December 31st. This is Auditor Carl Keith wishing you and your homestead the best this holiday season.
What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
And we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Fired up here on a Monday. I feel like I have to argue with Buckeye fans today more than Michigan fans. Tyrell, you're annoying, man, but I like you. I appreciate you calling me out and everything. I can't get mad at Michigan fans today. I've been talking a lot of smack lately, so I got to deal with them. But the bottom line is, Tyrell, to go back to your point when you called in a little bit ago, you're not wrong. Everything you're saying is what Buckeye fans believe. And I'm acknowledging that, which is why I'm saying it's stupid. You could say that there's one game, like, I have no problem if you say, man, if we have a bad season, we can lose every game in a bad season. We can lose every game. And if we get that one game that saves the whole season, we feel good about it. Fine. But in the midst of a good season, to have that be your only blemish at this point, to say that ruins everything is just ridiculous. So I see on Facebook, this was coming at Forrest Friday, not really sure your name, but Forrest says, Justin can say all he wants. They aren't making it. That's a stupid comment, Forrest. And you know why? Is because you can't say that. And I'm not guaranteeing that they make it. What I'm telling you is I think that there's a good shot they could still be number 4 tomorrow. Do you understand? If I talk slower, I know I'm talking really fast today, but if you paid the heck attention, you will hear me say, Forrest, okay, you will hear me say that there is a chance that they could be number 4 tomorrow. And then I go on to say there's a chance they could be number 4 tomorrow, and then I provide reasons why. Y'all just spit out stupid stuff like, no way, no chance, Buckeyes suck, blah, 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 blah. Give me a break. Ohio State could be number 4 tomorrow. The committee watched them win 21-7 over Northwestern and kept them at 2. The committee watched their defense get torched by Maryland and kept them at 2. The committee watched Penn State throw for 300-plus yards on them. Ohio State played poorly the whole game until the fourth quarter pulled away, and the committee kept them at 2. The committee has shown a Buckeye bias all season. You think it's that crazy that Buckeye bias that y'all accuse them of with the SEC wouldn't creep back up for Ohio State? It definitely will. Michigan, who's been more consistent than Ohio State this year. They've pummeled all their opponents up until last week against Illinois. They've pummeled all their opponents, right? And I even got to a certain point where I said, you know, guys, if I had my poll, I would probably have Michigan ahead of Ohio State before the game, by the way. I said I would probably have Michigan ahead of Ohio State because Michigan has been consistent. They run the football and they defend. I've been saying that for weeks. I'm not as much of a hater as y'all accuse me of. So I said that. But the committee said, no, there's still a gap between Ohio State and Michigan. There was a point where Michigan was on the outside looking in, if you recall. And Ohio State, even with their deficiencies, kept them at 2. So why is it that wild to think that a team that they've kept at 2 despite their deficiencies, because the committee just has this mindset with them that they do with Alabama and some of the others that, yeah, but we know they lost, but we know they're good. The committee knows. They look at that roster. They know that, like, okay, yeah, they didn't have their A game against that team up north. But, like, even the committee knows, like, come on, like, Ohio State, Michigan, we're going to go with Ohio State. We're going to go with the team that has NFL talent all up and down that roster. Michigan does too, but not at the level of Ohio State. Michigan has some good players, but not at the level of Ohio State. Michigan only has 1 tunnel. I'm joking. Relax. I mean, I'm not. They do. The Big House only has 1 tunnel, but just relax. I had to get my dig in. Calm down. So that's why I think they have a chance to be number 4 tomorrow, because the committee could basically say, look at Ohio State. They have 1 loss. USC has 1 loss. Ohio State's 1 loss is against the new number 2 team in the country, and USC lost to a 3-loss team. That's why tomorrow Ohio State could still be at 4. It's not that hard to figure out, folks. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. In fact, Buckeye fans, if you were real fans, you would actually be saying the same thing. You wouldn't be sitting here saying, we lost to Michigan, so we don't even deserve to be a team anymore. You guys are horrible fans if that's the case. I'm here to tell you right now, at the risk of ticking off an all Buckeye listenership here on 1410 Wing AM, Dayton's radio, home of the Buckeyes, you Buckeye fans, if that is your mindset, is pretty stupid. Don't care how childish I sound either. That's dumb, because the bottom line is you got to defend your team. I'm defending the Buckeyes, saying, hey, Dad, they did not look good. But either did USC in their loss, either did Alabama in their loss, either did, all the teams that still have a shot at making it. No one looks good in their losses. So here we are. We're not talking about, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't get beat by 30. They didn't get beat by, like, they, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Ay. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's see. Let's go to Rob. Rob, thanks for holding, sir. Welcome.
Hey, Justin. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? You're live,
Good.
man.
Good. Okay, great. Hey, I don't think you're getting the big picture here. When you're talking about Alabama losing, USC losing, Utah losing a couple games, man, your team lost by 23 points. Okay? 23 points, right? I'll take the 2 losses that Alabama had, one by a 2-point conversion at the end of the game, and the other one losing by 3 against Tennessee. I mean, that loss.
Tennessee, who just gave up 60 and got pummeled, and then LSU, who's a 3-loss team, and Utah, who's a 3-loss team. Losing to those teams, I don't care if it's by 1 possession or by 23, as you alluded to. That's unacceptable. You're losing by 20 plus to the number 2 team.
So what I'm trying to say is, there is no way that Ohio State should be a number 4.
No way.
By losing by 23 points. I mean, I laughed at the Buckeyes Okay, one, they didn't show any heart, none whatsoever. Okay, they thought that they were just going to go in there, they were going to throw the ball. They thought they were just going to win. Okay, Michigan has it figured out, and they deserve the right to be called Michigan and not the team up north anymore. They got it figured out. They, well, hey, you want to say that, but man, that team up north, beat your team by 23 points
for the fifth time in 22 years.
Huh?
For the fifth time in 22 years. But yeah, they did.
Oh, okay. I'm 53 years old. Okay.
I'm 33.
I don't know. You okay. You're 33. So you don't remember the years of the 80s and the 90s, Michigan owning them. Okay. So Ohio Buckeye fan, they need to be upset with how their team played yesterday. They hired Jim Knowles specifically to be a better defense, and they are awful. I don't know how many NFL players are on the team. Maybe they're going to be a bunch of fourth and fifth rounders. Okay, but I'm telling you what, that defense is very weak, and they have no heart, and they quit.
And that's your opinion. That's right. Hey, who's your team though, Rob?
Well, man, I've been talking to you for a couple years now. It's Notre Dame. And
Speaking of a team with no heart, my God, you lost to Marshall.
Same thing. Hey, yes. Well, do you think I was happy? I mean, no. With that loss, Ohio State, with that loss, they should be down to number 7 in the country.
Jesus,
it doesn't matter.
Then your team shouldn't be ranked with your 3 losses. You lost to Marshall. Notre Dame should be independent. They should be FBS. They shouldn't even be a college football program at all. Then 7.
I mean, that's your. Yeah, they should be number 7. They lost by 23. They lost by 23 points, and they supposedly have the best quarterback in the country, the best wide receiver.
He's been out all year, but I know what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Yeah, can I put down my team? Of course. Okay. I've seen my team win a championship. Yeah, it was back in 1988. I get it. Okay. And then they won the 2 in the 70s. I saw all that. Okay. Sports is about history too. Okay. I get it. Okay. Ohio State, they got their butt kicked, and they need to be down to number 7. Alabama, they got 2 losses. They did not get their butt kicked. Okay?
Well, good for them for hanging in there against a 3-loss LSU team, and good for them for hanging in there with the team that gave up 60 to South Carolina.
Hey, Justin.
By golly, roll Tide.
Justin.
Yes, Rob. Yes, Rob.
Ohio State they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. If USC wins their conference championship game, the Buckeyes are not in. Because I would put TCU ahead of the Buckeyes if they lose in their conference championship game.
Oh, that's adorable. That's cute. Hey, Rob, I appreciate you, but that's just adorable. I mean, I usually only break this out for Shaw, but that's just, oof. By the way, I've said it a million times, I'm not guaranteeing that the Buckeyes are in the playoffs, but if USC loses, they're in the playoffs. If TCU loses, they're in the playoffs. Like, stop. 7. How are you going to be a fan base? How are you going to be a fan of a team that has 4 losses with one of them to Marshall? You're going to call in and say, hey, you know what? I don't know. 518-1410, 518-1410. I say we just had a Richard call in. He is on line 2. I'm saying that out loud just for my memory. Let's go to my guy Brian. Brian, I'm hoping, help me out here. My blood pressure's through the roof. I have no clue what these callers are going to say. I feel like I feel like I could count on you to bring the blood pressure down, but I don't know what you got for me.
Well, with that last caller, what I got is, he's talking about losing by 23, and that does look bad. And you're talking about Alabama losing to teams that have 3 losses and all this. If you think about it, if you want to look at it one way, a 6 is going to look like a 6. You look at it the other way, it's going to look like a 9. Either way you look at it, you're going to be right. It just depends on what argument you want to go with.
Was that a 69 joke?
It was not until now.
Nice.
So either way you want to look at it, you can make the argument either way. So I get what he's saying, but, I get what you're saying too. Either way, we shouldn't have lost. My kind of look on the game, first half we played tough. we made a couple really crucial mistakes by letting some big passes go, and that really changed the dynamic of the game. You take away those two big spot plays, we're up by a couple scores going into halftime. That completely changes the second half of what Michigan wants to try to do, and we could be more in control of that game. So giving up those big plays, that really hurt. Having that defensive coordinator Knowles come in, that's why he came in, is to stop Michigan from doing what they did in that second half, and that didn't happen. That's why I was kind of disappointed in that more than anything. We made moves to help us in this game, and you didn't see it. We weren't disciplined enough. That's why we gave away those big plays in that first half. I think you take away those probably two big plays, both teams are going after that second half completely different. So it's kind of one of those quicksand games where if one thing goes wrong,
it's snowballed
then the
and
next
just
falls,
yeah.
and it totally did, and that's why you saw that 23-point blowout. Is Michigan 23 points better? Saturday they were because of said reasons. But if you play that game 10 times, I think you're going to have completely different results every single time. So I don't think, as far as college football playoff, I can see an avenue for us to get in, and I hope we get another shot at them because, again, I think we polished some of that stuff up. We realized, hey, yeah, we are Ohio State. We got away with our name for a long time. That's why you didn't see us drop in the rankings. But we got to back that name up, and right now we're not doing that.
Yeah, especially obviously against that team up north. But again, everyone out there, where are you at with Ryan Day? I'm not a big Ryan Day guy, but I'm also not fire Ryan Day either. I'm not there yet. Like I said, so let's just say, and again, Ryan Day can't do it. And let's be clear, Brian, Ryan Day can't do anything different from the time we're talking now until Selection Sunday. Okay, there's nothing different he can do because everything that he could do has been done. They're not in the Big Ten championship game. But the reason I'm pausing my take on him is because what I need to see is if they make the playoff or not, because that's all that matters. If they make the playoff, it's forgivable what just happened at the shoe this past weekend. But if you lose to Michigan 2 straight years and you miss the playoffs 2 straight years, when you're a championship or bust program, I'm more mad that they're missing the playoffs for the second straight year than losing to that team up north. Losing to that team up north compounds it, in my opinion. But they just lost. If they make the playoff because TCU or USC, or heaven forbid, both lose, I mean, yes, it stinks they lost to that team up north, but now I'm going to be locked in on, man, now we got to go win a playoff game so we could be in the position to win a national championship. That's really what matters.
With Ryan Day, that unfortunately the comment of you inherited on third base, that has some accuracy to it. He got a program that was set up, ready to go, and what has he done to improve that program? He's kind of regressed. I think what he can do better is he gets in love with those bells and whistles. That's the same thing Zach Taylor falls into with the Bengals, is they want to get everything on the outside, and that's great when it's working. But when you go away from the run game, when you go away from getting the 3 yards, that sets up everything that you want to do. When you force feed what you want to do, you lose a lot of the fundamentals that control the game. And then when you lose control of the game, you saw what happened Saturday. It does get out of control. I think that if he can maybe, I don't want to say get rid of the play calling, but if he can adjust his play calling to kind of settle himself down, it's great to have all those flashy names and have all those flashy plays. But if you're not doing the fundamentals to set those things up, you're not going to be able to get away with that. So yeah, the on third base, he's regressed back to second base, and he has to kind of figure himself out to kind of just get things back to basics, and then you can develop everything from there.
All right, Brian, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you. And a good win for your Bengals yesterday. Since you brought in some normalcy to the show, I will give you a mature 33-year-old adult's compliment on your NFL team winning yesterday. I even give you a who day for bringing some kind of calmness to the show.
I appreciate that.
It was very good that the defense to step up, since the quarterback only threw for 1 touchdown. I mean, it was very big of the defense. I was so close, Brian.
And there it is.
I was so
there it is. Yeah, you were. I appreciate it. I respect it. Hey, talk to you later, Justin.
Take care. 518-1410. 518-1410. Oh, would you look at this, Michigan? Would you just look at this? The conference, according to an article from Bucknuts, the Big Ten Conference released a statement on the Michigan State tunnel fight. The conference concluded in its release that Michigan did not meet the standards of the Big Ten Conference football game management manual policy, which requires the league's game host to provide adequate protection for personnel. Yes, I knew it was Michigan's fault. I knew it. Thank goodness that game was at the shoe, because Ohio State, they got beat in the game. They could have got beat up after the game, and that's how dangerous the Big House is. Luckily, I wish the outcome would have been different on the scoreboard, but luckily there was adults, running the shoe, so nothing chaotic happened. My goodness. Something chaotic should have happened, though, letting them plant that flag there in the middle of the block O. But you know what? I didn't mind it when Baker Mayfield did it years ago, and I don't mind it that Michigan did it either. What I do mind is no one went and popped one of them on their asses. That's what should have happened. I don't care if it sounds like I'm inciting anything, but I'm just saying Michigan, they like to do this thing where they start everything, and then when people react to it, they like to cry foul. I'm just throwing that out there. It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. More calls coming up. I see Tim. I see Doug. I see Richard. I see another Mikey. Is this the Mikey? We'll find out. 518-1410. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
O'Reilly. Don't miss See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts with great deals on wiper blades, headlight bulbs, and more. Right now, get up to a $20 gift card after a mail-in rebate with the purchase of select Sylvania bulbs. Plus, get double O Rewards points with your purchase. Prepare for the weather ahead during See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Time to fire up your laptops for Cyber Monday savings, because the Home Depot has the tools to make your holiday magic with new savings every day. So start clicking and adding everything you need for the tech lovers in your life. Or grab one of our nailers, combo kits, or trimmers to surprise any doer on your list. Everything you need for the holidays is just a click away with free delivery on eligible online items. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Want to get 1,000? By your plan, like hearing aids, dentures, prescription glasses, copays, and more. It's just one more way WellCare is improving every aspect of Medicare to give you access to the top tier benefits you want most, plus a little extra. To learn more about WellCare, visit wellcareforoh.com today. That's wellcareforoh.com to enroll today. WellCare, it's Medicare done well. Benefits vary by plan. WellCare is the Medicare brand for Centene Corporation, an HMO, PPO, PFFS, PDP plan with a Medicare contract and is an approved Part D sponsor. Our DSNP plans have a contract with the state Medicaid program. Enrollment in our plans depends on contract renewal.
Want to make tonight's dinner a true winner? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 12-piece family meal at a great price. You'll get 12 pieces of our classic Famous Recipe Chicken that's honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and pressure-cooked just right, along with 3 of our large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. This is temptation times 12. Get the family meal that's big on flavor and on value with the 12-piece family meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Fall is here, and Rob's Beer Barn is stocked. Seasonal refreshments and holiday beers have arrived, just in time for your favorite sporting events. Rob's Beer Barn has you covered for your family holiday plans. At Rob's, you'll find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need. Craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers, fine wines, snacks, and ice. Plus, Rob's Beer Barn has apparel. For last-minute items, you can call, walk in, or drive through. Stock up today. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the green. Rob's Beer Barn. Just look for the beaver.
What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
And we are back. I'm Justin Kinner with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I actually just heard from ESPN's Heather Dinich. She's going to be coming on with the show with us this week. In fact, talking with her back and forth during the commercial break. She even said she agreed with me. She can be coming on Wednesday with us to talk about why the Buckeyes, hopefully, sitting at number 4. I can't wait for tomorrow night. Look, I'm not saying that if they're not in the top 4, I'm not going to be like, oh, see, Kinner was wrong. No, Kinner's not wrong. I'm just saying there's a good chance. This idea, what I'm getting tired of is people saying that there's no chance. There's no way Ohio State. Stop saying stupid stuff like that. There's no way. There's way. If we're talking about a 2-loss Alabama team getting in, stop with this nonsense that the only loss on an unblemished on a resume that was unblemished, the number 2 team in the country the entire time. You mean to tell me you're going to be number 2 the entire time, and then you lose to the new number 2 team in the country, and now not only are you not number 2 anymore, which is understandable, but you're just not even playoff worthy at all. Stop. You sound silly, and I feel bad for you. You could be upset, and I'm going to kind of give you guys the benefit of the doubt. You're upset. You're emotional. Because Ohio State doesn't lose often. Ryan Day's been the coach for, this is year 4. We've had to experience 5 of these losses. It doesn't happen often. You know, when we tell teams who don't win often to act like they've been there before, well, I don't like saying this, but act like you've lost before. I mean, come on. Do better. I think the reason I can handle this better than all of y'all is because I'm a Browns fan, and I think that's why I'm able to handle losses more maturely than you guys. But I know a lot of you Buckeye fans are Bengals fans, and I know some of y'all just became Bengals fans within the last year, but even y'all could appreciate some good losses here and there. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Matthew Mills, OSU will be 6, 5 max. Stop saying that. You don't know that. Like, there's nothing there other than what you think, and what you think is different than what you know. And you saying that you know, Max, you don't know that. You don't know that. Now, you could say that I don't know, and then again, John Coy, Bama 5, OSU 6, but his logo is the Alabama logo. This is ridiculous. It's adorable. Roll Tide. You guys are rolling something. I'm not sure if it's a tide, though. Let's just be clear. Share that, some of that, would you? Just throwing that out there. Brian McCoy. Brian, I hope you're doing well. He said the win over Penn State at Happy Valley is better than anything that USC or TCU has on their resume. Penn State is number 7 in the AP, and they're going to be probably as high as 7, most likely in the college football playoff rankings that come out tomorrow. And that's what I mean by, like, I think tomorrow, look, and people are confusing tomorrow's ranking with the final. The final ranking comes out a week from yesterday. Tomorrow's ranking, I think Ohio State has a good shot at being at 4. You know, they're the only losses against the number 2 team in the country. You look at USC. Everyone thinks that they're going to be number 4. I think they should be at number 5. Their best win is not better than Ohio State's best win. They both have an 11-point win against a 4-loss Notre Dame team. Whatever. That's a weird flex. That's a weird brag. A Notre Dame fan called in a little bit ago, talking smack about Ohio State, all about his team with 4 losses, talking about the heart of the Fighting Irish. Don't you think the Irish should have a little more luck than that? 4 losses? My goodness. 518-1410. Let's go to the phones. Let me see. Who we got here? Let's go to Chicago. We got Brian in Chicago. How are you, sir? Chicago, Brian, what up?
Hey, Justin. I want to start off with what you got right first.
Oh, I got something wrong?
Yeah, but we'll get to that in a second.
We have a lot of time. Let's go.
I'm going to start with what you got right, of course. I do agree with you. The playoffs, the championship is more important than beating Michigan. I feel the same way when it comes to my teams. The playoffs, the championships are more important than beating, your arch rival.
Yep.
So I want to throw that out there.
Thank you.
Now why I think USC will be number 4 and why they should be number 4. For 2 reasons. One, I don't agree with the thinking, but I think it matters. USC has a special quarterback. Ohio State has a very good quarterback. The committee wants special in the playoffs. I think that matters. So I think they're going to push for USC. The second reason is they both beat my guys, but USC beat an improved Notre Dame team. And I think that's going to be in their head too.
Oh, I mean, okay, to be fair, 2 valid points. Valid points that I think carry more weight on Selection Sunday, on the final poll. But I think for tomorrow, where the committee, why they would put Ohio State at 4 is because of the fact. So to your point about Caleb Williams, which, by the way, I'm with you 100%. If you ask me which quarterback I'd rather have, CJ Stroud or Caleb Williams, I'm taking Caleb Williams 10 out of 10. I like CJ Stroud, but my goodness, that guy has done nothing but talk himself out. Like, you guys want to talk about everyone? Like, I see all these mock drafts with CJ Stroud going high. I'm telling you right now, what is today? What's the date today? The 28th? The 28th. When he made that comment last year about, I'm not a running back, I'm a quarterback, and talking about why he doesn't run and all that stuff, keep in mind what the game of the NFL is right now. It's about quarterbacks who can make plays with their legs. So he's already telling NFL teams, hey, I really hope you have a running back because I ain't going to be picking up, yards with my legs. Look at Justin Fields, who's right now finding ways to win football games. He doesn't have weapons to throw to, so he makes plays with his legs. CJ Stroud's telling you, I'm not Justin Fields. That's a problem right there. I'm not a fan of CJ Stroud. I think that, last year him coming out and saying that was very immature. And then this year he turned down first downs against Michigan on multiple occasions. There were so many different plays where all he had to do was pick up 3 or 4 yards for a first, and he would just throw it away rather than pick up the first with his legs. That is just ridiculous. He cost Ohio State on a lot of big drives. I'm not a fan of CJ Stroud right now. I think he deserves a lot of blame for what happened on Saturday as well.
I agree with you 100% on that.
But I think that tomorrow night, Ohio State has a chance of being at 4, but USC will most likely get in. USC will most likely, they're going to win that. I think they're going to win the Pac-12 championship and get in. And I'm going to be pulling for Lincoln Riley and USC at that point if they get in. But I'm also kind of hoping that they lose so that Ohio State gets in. I just don't want TCU. TCU, yawn, boring. Give me a break. I don't want them in the playoff. I don't want them in the playoff more than I want Ohio State in the playoff. That's how badly I don't want them in the playoff.
I think Ohio State's best chance is TCU losing.
It's their best chance is either of them losing. Either of those two teams lose, Ohio State's in.
Yeah, I just see it more likely to happen. Is what I'm saying.
Well, USC's lost to them already, but it is hard to beat the same team twice. But Chicago, Brian, appreciate you. Thank you for the call, my friend. 518-1410. That was Brian from Chicago. I don't know where some of these other people are from, but we'll figure it out. Let's go to Doug. Doug, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Hey, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. The calls have calmed down. We don't have as many crazy, takes, although I do appreciate the crazy takes, but, entertain me. What you got?
Okay, first of all, I appreciate how you usually are.
Hey, we got an echo. What do you got going on back there?
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yep. Now, yeah, I can hear what I just want to hear one of you. I don't need a bunch of y'all. So,
okay.
Yeah, we're good.
But you be brutally honest about the Bengals, about the Browns, and really about Ohio State. But you're getting a little off track today because I think you're missing a lot of the point. And the points I'm gonna make is Ohio State. The fact that they got beat bad, that's going to matter. Had they got beat bad at Michigan, it would matter. But the fact that they got beat bad at home is going to really matter. Now, when Tennessee lost to Georgia, they got dominated. They didn't get bad. It wasn't as bad as Ohio State, and they were at Georgia, and you didn't have no problem dropping them out of the top 5. So I don't know how you don't have any problem dropping Ohio State out. Now, I'm pretty sure Ohio State is going to be number 5. And then you made a point to say about the fact that they Ohio State lost to Michigan and USC lost to Utah. That's fine. You get the point up for that because Penn State higher ranked, maybe better than Utah. But the fact that Ohio State got beat down, that's going to weigh something. And I don't know how you don't think that's going to weigh anything. And as far as their wins, it's all the same.
Ohio State got beat down last year, and they would have made the playoff if they hadn't lost to Oregon.
Okay, but was there somebody in there as their equal? It was UC. That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing.
USC is Ohio State's equal either. I think they're equal offensively, but I think USC is just as bad defensively.
Well, I'm talking about as far as the brand. USC is a big brand. UC is not. They would have knocked UC out, but they wouldn't have knocked a big brand out. They wouldn't have knocked Alabama out.
But listen, I don't know if you saw it, though, but Ohio State-Michigan was just the most watched college football game ever on Fox Sports. So that brand, USC, that's a cute little Los Angeles brand. It has a lot of money behind it. That's why the Big Ten spent good dollars for it. But if you want to talk about a brand that's going to bring eyes and interest to the product, people say this all the time. They accuse it of that. Ohio State, they're going to take that over USC.
No, I'm not saying. I know what Ohio State is. It might be the biggest brand, but USC is a big brand. And when comparing USC and Cincinnati, there's no comparison. That's just like when you jumping off the subject. You killing Fickle for leaving.
He's a quitter.
UC to go to a Big Ten school. Who's not going to do that?
Oh, you could do that. Just don't quit on your team when there's one game left. That's a coward move. If everyone out here that was ripping Brian Kelly when he did that, but when Fickle does it, he's just such a great family.
Well, no,
man.
everybody has to do that. Pretty much everybody has to do that.
You don't have to.
I don't understand it. I would try to stay too, but it seems like they forcing you to go.
It's Wisconsin.
Why would Brian Kelly
He had the
leave?
upper hand.
Who, Brian Kelly?
No, Fickle. Fickle's. I think that he's too. I thought that he could have got a much better job than Wisconsin. So to sit there and say, "Man, if I passed up on the opportunity to go to Wisconsin, I don't know if I'd ever get that opportunity." That's baloney, and he knows it, and everyone knows it. Plus, he's getting paid $5 million a year or $6 million a year at Wisconsin. He was making $5 million a year at Cincinnati, and you get him that far. He pulled a Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens did that to Butler, got him to back-to-back national championship games in basketball. And then just as they're about to go into the A-10, he bails on him and takes the Celtics job, and then it's like it wasn't as I thought there was not mad at Brad, but I think with the game left, a bowl game left, I thought that was a weak move on Fickle's part. He's a quitter. He quit on the Bearcats. Boo him.
Okay, getting back to the college thing.
Let's get back.
Now, I've been hearing you saying, I called in 3 weeks ago, and I was trying to tell you that Alabama was not out of it. And you think they were out of it, and Kevin thinks they had no chance. And everything is working out to where they're at it. Now, what I did think was if Ohio State blew Michigan out, that they could maybe jump Michigan. I didn't think that they might jump Ohio State, but I didn't imagine them getting beat down like that either at home. But I thought they would jump Michigan with 1 loss and Alabama with 2 losses. And I know y'all didn't think that was possible. But you're talking about 2 close losses on the last play of the road. They are Alabama. And what they do want is they really want the best 4 teams. It's not really about your resumes.
Oh, if that's the case, then Michigan won't make it and Ohio State will make it. I know Michigan won, but I don't think anyone does anyone out there actually think Michigan's a better team than Ohio State? I know they just beat them down, but I don't care. Upsets happen all the time. I'm just saying, if that's the case, then no, Ohio State's in for sure. They're definitely a top 4 team. Top 4 team, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. You could put Tennessee in there. You could put who else can you put in there? You can put USC in there. You just said it. You said 4 best teams.
So, I mean, me and you have discussed this on a weekly basis. Ohio State ain't really playing no good. Ain't playing no good football. Their brand we assume. I done bet on Ohio State every week for 6, 8 weeks in a row. But I'm honest about they haven't looked good 3 out of the last 4 weeks. And maybe that's who you are. Now, we could keep saying that they got all this talent, but offensively, what they supposed to be a juggernaut, they struggled in 3 out of the last 4 games. So maybe their offense ain't as good as we think. And their defense is lousy. And I mean, like when they played Iowa, we talked about it. They struggled. Iowa gave them the ball 5 times in their territory. 4 of them times, they didn't even get a first down. So maybe their offense ain't as good as we think. And I think people are beginning to see maybe that's what it is instead of just assuming because they're Ohio State that they're good.
No, and that's fine. You mean the offense without Jackson Smith and Jigba and without Trevion Henderson? You mean those 2 guys right there? I'm just saying like that matters. And this is one criticism I'll have of Ryan Day for not, using Hayden, by the way, who looked fantastic last week and then carried the ball, 4 times or whatever it was. I thought that was weird. The running back room has been handled very odd, and they've been been hard to get a rhythm with that running game all season, mainly because of the fact that 1 week you have Trevion Henderson, the next week you have Mine Williams, then you have both of them for 1 game, and then one's out the next week. Y'all could, if Kev was here, he'd be hitting the excuse bell, but let's just, let's just use a little common sense. I mean, the Bengals are better with Jamar Chase than without him. Without him, Joe Burrow looks very average unless he's playing a bad Steelers team, right? Or a bad, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. Like, it's just the reality of it. You have weapons, you're better. When you don't have all of your weapons, you're not as good. I mean, just throwing that out there. Just making sure that that's known. All right. 518-1410, 518-1410. Let's go to Ricardo. Ricardo, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Thanks, Justin. I want to kind of go a little different direction with my reaction to what we saw.
Okay.
One of the most fascinating aspects of watching team sports is that whole mystery of how teams come together. And, it might be a cliche, but it's still true that sometimes a team seems to be more than the sum of its parts, and other times that maybe they're less than the sum of their parts. So somehow on Saturday, in the most important half of the regular season for both those teams, Michigan put it on Ohio State 28-3. Now, obviously, there's no way that Michigan's players are 28-3 better than Ohio State. And there's no way that Michigan's coaching staff is 28-3 better than Ohio State's staff.
Yep.
So let's just say luck was a factor. But I'm wondering if just throwing out another possible factor, I want to see what you think about this, is that Ohio State's roster is full of those 4- and 5-star recruits. They recruit better than Michigan. And those guys, by definition, already in high school have pro prospects. And I wonder how many of them may be more focused on personal goals maybe than team goals. Just one possible consideration. And if you think about some examples have been set by some of Ohio State's best players the last few years, I'm not sure that they tried their very best to get back after injury, to come back to the team.
Like Jackson Smith and
I don't know what kind of an example that sets, but I think some of the very best, the teams with the very best recruits are struggling with this factor. You think that's a possibility?
No, it's not a bad point at all. I mean, I think what you're saying is, as you get to this point of the season, you're heading into December, the combine's not too far off in the distance. You have these major, I mean, I'll never know what it's like to have the millions of dollars waiting for them like these guys do. They can become a little distracted with the little old Michigan players who this is their Super Bowl. This is the highest level of which most of these guys will play, right? That's a very fair assessment. But no, I'm having a little fun with that. But the bottom line is that's the case every single year. And Ohio State had that for going on the last decade, and they still dominated Michigan every single week. This is a problem. Look, Ryan Day did not do a good job having this team prepared for this game. I'm not going to enhance it because it was Michigan. I'm just saying it was, if they came out flat against Indiana, if they came out flat against any team, I'd be just as upset. It doesn't matter that it's Michigan. It might, it kind of explodes a little bit more for some people. But no, I know what you're saying. I just think at the end of the day, this is coming down to coaching and preparation. Because yes, a roster made up of all those 4 and 5 stars compared to what Michigan has, there's no excuse for Ohio State to be letting Michigan win the last 2 years.
Especially not get beat that badly.
Yep.
But
in the second half, I agree with you.
Alabama didn't have a great year this year. They probably had better recruits than anybody else in their
What
team.
do you mean, Ricardo? They're about to be the number 1 team in the country, according to most of the weirdos calling in today. Oh, my gosh. These are the same people that yell about SEC bias, but today to stick it to Ohio State, now they're all screaming about Alabama, roll tide. I mean, give me a break.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Hey, take care, Ricardo. Appreciate you. All right. 518-1410, 518-1410. David Shaw. Yes, Michigan puts no one in the NFL. Oh, stop it, little one. You're fine. Your team won Saturday. It's okay. You're fine. Man. Oh, I mean, then the Michigan fans that just have hijacked the Facebook feed, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Go check it out. You can watch the show live there, interact in there. The Buckeye or the Michigan fans that have hijacked this. I mean, my goodness, I feel like a player in their tunnel right now. They're just all, they're attacking me left and right now. I mean, my goodness, y'all should get that tunnel fixed. The Big Ten, Shaw, I don't know if you saw it. The Big Ten came down on Michigan saying that they failed to adhere to the standards of protecting the players. So that was on you guys. Nice job, by the way. 518-1410. My goodness, let's see. I got to keep up here. Let's go to, we got my guy, Tim. Tim, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Hey, good. Hey, Justin, I think you make some pretty interesting points about why Ohio State might be number 4 tomorrow, but I'll tell you why I don't think that's going to happen.
See, you know why, real quick, before you go on, you know why I'm going to respect everything you say coming up? Because you're saying, here's why I don't think that's going to happen. And then you're going to tell me why you think that they're going to be at 5 or 6 instead of saying, no, they're going to be 5 or they're going to be 6. I like you, Tim.
No,
so
you
I'll
made
let
some
you
good
go.
points about that. But I think that it could also be the opposite. They might think, hey, Ohio State, we had you there, and look how tight 1-11 Northwestern played. They're going to look at a lot of things. They might say, hey, fool us twice. That's on me, but or that's on you, but fool us 3 times. That's not going to happen. I think the way they lost was bad. If it would have been close. And the other 2 callers I thought made some good points. And one thing about they do look at, the committee said this, how you lose, how close the games are. Bama lost at Tennessee. They lost at LSU, and the one was in overtime when the other team went for 2 and got it. The other was a last-second field goal. His time expired, and that's different. I think they're going to look at Ohio State, the way the offense. How does that offense only score 3 points and a half? I think that was a bad look for Ohio State yesterday. My thinking is that tomorrow, I think Bama's going to be number 5. I think it's going to be USC at 4. I think their Bama might jump up to 5. The reason I don't think Tennessee would is because, well, they're behind them now in the college. I don't care about the AP. But I think that Tennessee, they had a couple of bad beats. Now, one thing against Alabama, working against them, is the same thing, is they also had a couple of very close losses or wins. They won a couple games the same way they lost a couple. But I think when the committee looks at everything, they're going to look. What I am really confused about the committee is what do they see in Penn State? And they're not just going to be looking, hey, this team's got the most NFL players. We've seen a lot of times in sports, especially the NBA, you might have more all-stars. But, playing together as a team is different than
the Lakers
Ohio
agree.
State. So anyways, my feeling is I don't know, but who knows? Maybe they keep Ohio State at 2.
No,
but I think they're going to actually have Bama. No, they won't. But I think it's going to be USC at 4, and I think it's going to be Bama actually at 5. So that's just my take on that. And I want to defend C.J. Stroud. What he said last year about not being running back. Sometimes I think we have to remember, these guys are, he's a freshman in college. Even if these guys are great players, they're still young kids. And to say something like that, I wouldn't hold that against C.J. Stroud. I think he's been a really class act. And I would probably take him over USC's quarterback. That guy's a dynamic player, but, C.J. Stroud, that guy can just really throw the football. And I hope he comes back to Ohio State. Anyway, so what's your thoughts about, do you still think that there's a good chance of them being at 4 after my reasons why they're not going to be, or at 2? Or at 4, I'm sorry, at 4?
I'm not there yet just because of the fact that I think like Ohio State has stayed at 2 the entire time. I just can't see them dropping back that far and letting a 2-loss team jump them when they were the number 2 team in the country for the entire season. It's not like this is the first playoff ranking that came out and this is just some random loss in the middle of the season.
Isn't it the 6th one, I think?
This is the 6th poll. So that's why I'm like, and the committee has been, so the committee, there's 2 minds of thinking, and Tim, thank you. There's 2 different ways of thinking here. The committee, because in my view, the committee has kept them at 2 all season, even when they only won 21-7 against Northwestern. I thought for sure they'd move Ohio State back. I thought they should have moved Ohio State back. They didn't. All right. I thought they played poorly against Penn State. They moved they moved Georgia. If you guys remember, Georgia lost the number 1 ranking spot for a while because they didn't play well. Then they started beating up and pummeling teams again, and then boom, they got that number 1 spot in the playoff rankings and yada yada from there. So it's not like once you have a spot, you're locked into it. But like, you know what I mean? So like, they could have moved Ohio State back for not playing as well as the other undefeateds, and they never did because they're believers in Ohio State. Like I said, there's some programs, you don't need to see them do something to know that there's something there. You don't need to see them play somebody to know that they are somebody. Now, Michigan, everyone's believers because Michigan played somebody, and they proved that they're somebody too. Ohio State, I never had to see them play somebody to know that they are somebody, so there's that. Look, losses happen. Ohio State lost. They're still the better program. I don't think anyone outside of Michigan would disagree with that. I don't even think it's a hot take. That's not me trolling either. You wake up. Michigan's won the last 2 years. And this whole thing that Ryan Day is Cooper, like, can we slow down just a tad? All right. Can we slow down just a tad? They won the first year he was here. The second year was the 2020 season where Michigan quit the season and didn't play the Ohio State-Michigan game. Ohio State, that was the year they were talking about trying to put 100 up on them because of all the smack talk that Harbaugh was doing in the offseason. And I'm not saying 2-2 is acceptable, but I mean, like, you talk about 1-2, whatever. Losing to Michigan, I get it. It gets your panties in a wad. Y'all make the playoff, Ryan Day. Make the playoff. Put this team in a position to win a national championship, and we'll move on to next season and talk about them getting a win at the big house. But for right now, just make the playoff. And there's a very good chance that that's going to be the case. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. David Shaw is upset. Brian McCoy, stop with these blank Harbaugh takes. Just stop. Ooh, what did Brian say? I always, anytime I see someone get him all upset, it always fascinates me. Let's see what not so big of a deal thing that was said that got him all fired up. Oh, all right, Brian McCoy. What up, Brian? 2 years ago, Michigan fans wanted Harbaugh gone. Now he is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Ryan Day needs to do what Harbaugh did. His coaches, hire coaches and get out of the way. What did he say, Shaw? That was wrong. Brian McCoy, I am so sorry that you came on to the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page and just got jumped like it was a tunnel at Michigan by a Michigan guy in Shaw. That was unacceptable. Brian, you didn't say anything wrong. You're right. 2 years ago, Harbaugh was on the hot seat. Hell, not even a year. Hell, this past offseason, he was cheating. He was he was on the Maury show, right? He had to be like, he got caught cheating. Let's just be clear. He interviewed for the Vikings job. He didn't even believe in this team. He's even worse than Fickle. He's like Fickle. Quits on his team. He went out there to find something better. He couldn't find anything better. He's like, oh, what the hell? I'll come back. Harbaugh stinks. He's a bum. He literally got the Michigan because they knew, well, he can't beat Ohio State up until lately, of course, but he could have beat Ohio State. So we can't fire him because we can't get anyone better out there. So I guess we'll just, we won't fire him, but we'll just give him a pay cut. We're just going to demote his pay a little bit. How embarrassing is that? That they didn't keep him because they wanted him. They kept him because, well, we don't really know who else we're going to get. And then he returns the favor by finally having 1 year of success and then wanting to use that to leapfrog into the NFL. But the Vikings said, no, crazy khakis. You can stay right there in Ann Arbor. Good for him, though. Good for the team for rallying around him. But what Brian McCoy just said is not wrong. Brian McCoy is spot on. 2 years ago, Michigan fans wanted Harbaugh gone. Now he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. You're right, Brian. Ryan Day does need to do what Harbaugh did, though. My only takeaway on this, and Brian, I've said this about the Bengals when Zach Taylor was getting, lit up earlier in the season. For those out there that want Ryan Day gone or that want him to give up the play calling duties, my only problem with that is the only reason Ryan Day got the Ohio State head coaching job was because he was this offensive genius, right? He was supposed to be Lincoln Riley 2.0, or at least him and Lincoln Riley 1A, 1B, right? And that's how it was viewed for the longest time. Lincoln Riley has separated himself now. But I say this because when Zach Taylor was having his issues with the Bengals and everyone said he needs to give up play calling duties, I'm like, hold on. The only reason Zach Taylor was hired by the Bengals is because of the offensive mindset that he had. And if the offensive mindset that he has is not good enough to have your offense play well, then why even have him? So if Ryan Day's play calling duties is not good enough, which is why he got the job in the first place, I don't think they should find someone else to call plays. I think that they should just find someone else to coach the team. Do you see what I mean? Like, I know what you're saying, but if the whole reason you have a job is because that's what you do best, and what you do best is now not being reflected on the team and what they're doing on the field, then I don't know why you're keeping him to begin with. I don't want Ryan Day gone, but I'm also not there yet. Next year, you lose 3 straight. Now we're talking. But make the playoffs, win a game in the playoffs, get to the title game, win a national championship. Now we're cooking. We'll be right back. I'm on Brian McCoy's side, by the way, in case anyone was wondering.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
For your weather forecast, today cloudy skies and a high of 46. Tonight it will be cloudy with a low of 41 degrees. And for tomorrow, clouds early with sunshine later in the day, high of 61. I'm Eddie Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Tomorrow on Fox. Wow! Oh my goodness! The Stars and Stripes must come out strong in a huge World Cup group stage clash.
And he just rifles this home.
Christian Pulisic once again leads the U.S. Young Guns.
Now that is magnificent!
As they take the field for a crucial showdown against Iran. A moment of magic. USA, Iran. Coverage begins tomorrow at 1 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try Babbel for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Ohio, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day. DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at DKNG.co/OH.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Qatar, here we come.
Christian's travel agency has one
All right,
goal.
talk to you soon.
The world's biggest soccer tourney.
The hotel is 7 miles from the stadium. Are you serious? Did you email the transportation company?
Now he needs an Arabic interpreter on his roster.
I don't speak it either.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Sure, we have 30 seconds to tell you that drivers who switch to Progressive could save big. But then what? Well, radio has been called theater of the mind, so let's tell a story with sound effects. Wow, it's like I was in the story. Almost makes me forget this was supposed to be about saving big with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits a $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. Let them get what they really want.
Gah, I'm so stressed about my business not being ready for the holidays.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Justin Kinner with you back here on 1410 ESPN Radio. What's crazy is that, because we're so used to right away going into the Big Ten championship game, like Buckeye fans, we got a little cocky, we got a little confident, and rightfully so, by the way. There's always a reason to feel confident going up against a team that you've beat 17 times in 22 years. I mean, you know what I mean? We don't head into Indiana expecting to lose, and why would we expect? We don't head into Purdue expecting to lose, but hey, you know what? Sometimes they get you. And we got for the second time in 2 years. So there's that. But it is what it is. We're going to get to some NFL talk coming up here 12 minutes from now, 5 o'clock. We'll switch over to some NFL talk. But I wanted to close out the conversation on Ohio State and that team up north. A good friend of mine that's a Michigan fan, he shot me a note, and he said, better luck next year to the team down south. So now he refers to Ohio State as that. So good for him. It's fun. I don't care. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm not upset about it. I'm going to be upset on Sunday if Ryan Day doesn't get this team back to the college football playoff. And he can't do anything right now. There's nothing that Ryan Day could do from the time I'm talking now and Sunday to make it happen. He just needs to hope that he does, because at the end of the day, it's a results-based business. Got to get there. You're not going to get the chance to win the Big Ten championship now, so now you got to rely on chaos. And I don't think it's that chaotic. I'm not saying, it's unlikely. TCU, got to give them credit, because they've won every week when we've expected them not to. They've been slowly kind of creeping up the boards, getting to the point now where, and then even when they get to Texas and Baylor and some of the games that we expected them to lose, honestly, them last week when all the teams almost lost, I said it was the most chaotic, chaotic weekend. It was a weekend full of things that almost happened. Georgia narrowly beating Kentucky, Michigan having to escape Illinois, then TCU obviously having to escape Baylor. I mean, it was just one of those things where it was a chaotic weekend. It was, Ohio State and even Maryland. I mean, it was chaotic, but nothing happened because everyone escaped with the win. It was just a weekend of stuff that almost happened. But here's the deal. TCU is 12-0, number 4 team in the country, probably number 3 team when the rankings come out tomorrow. And they're a 2.5-point favorite at home for the Big 12. And they're not really at home, I'm sorry, but they are the home team. My apologies. But they're the home team. AT&T Stadium, which technically at home. It's in Dallas. They got Kansas State. TCU is a 2.5-point favorite. USC has Utah, who they've already lost to this year. That's at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. So there's that. USC is a 3-point favorite at home. Look, bottom line is to sit here and act like we've seen conference championship games in the past where we really needed to rely on something crazy to happen. But we knew, a lot of these conference championship games, some of the lines, some of the spreads are just so large, just indicating that, the chances of Ohio State making it will be slim. That's not the case this year. TCU is a 2.5-point favorite. USC is a 3-point favorite. Those are tight lines, and I'm not confident that either of them are going to win it. I'm not confident that either of them are going to lose it. But you know what I mean? You look at those lines, those are going to be 2 games that come down to the wire. One of those 2 teams loses, Ohio State's in. Stop wasting my time with this nonsense about Alabama getting in. Alabama's not getting in. 2 losses. The committee doesn't like, putting they barely like putting non-conference champions, and they barely like putting 1-loss teams in. They're not going to put a 2-loss team in over a 1-loss team at this point, especially when it's that close. Come on. Alabama, stop. And the reason that I think a lot of this is being put out there is, remember, the college football playoff rankings release. It's a show. It's entertainment. So they have to make you believe that, oh my God, am I going to tune in and actually see Alabama at number 4? Oh my God. They know they're not going to do that. They know. That's why sometimes they'll put, even, by the way, on Selection Sunday, whoever the number 5 team is, who cares? That's why sometimes they do things crazy. Like they'll put like a team at number 5 that has no business being at 5. But at the end of the day, what's it hurting? Because, hey, it's not like there's hanging a banner for being the number 5 team in the country. That don't matter. Utah, USC. 3-point favorite is USC. Buckeye fans, Utah's already beat USC. It's not like it's that unthinkable that it could happen again. 2 high-powered offenses, 2 bad defenses. It's a shootout. It was a shootout last time. It'll be a shootout this weekend. All right, Kansas State, TCU. 2.5-point favorites, TCU. TCU had to hang on for dear life to beat Baylor. Kansas State, that's a 9-3 team. Kansas State's a good football team. Are they as good as TCU? TCU's undefeated. I don't know how much better they are than Kansas State, but we're about to find out. But one of those 2 teams loses, Ohio State's fine. Then the other wrinkle I haven't even considered, because let's not act like Michigan's bulletproof here, because they're not. Right? They had to hang on for dear life against Illinois. All right, we've seen them struggle with teams that Ohio State dominated this year. It's not like they're, it's not like they're just going to run. They haven't run roughshod through the Big Ten either. All right, let's just be clear. They took care of Ohio State in a more dominating fashion than some of the teams that they should have pummeled in that fashion. You know what I mean? So there's that. What happens if Michigan loses to Purdue? What happens if Michigan loses to Purdue? Michigan's a 16-point favorite. Now, I know you're going to say, that ain't happening. Well, it shouldn't happen. They're a 16-point favorite. It shouldn't happen. But it shouldn't have been close against Illinois, and it was. All right? That's a trap game, to be fair. But, you're coming off of an emotional win against Ohio State. But the thing is, I did a lot of these talking points last year, and to Michigan's credit, they took care of Iowa. They should take care of Purdue. But we've seen crazier things happen. I'm just saying, look, I'm not really paying attention to this Purdue-Michigan game. Michigan's winning this. Michigan's in the playoff. I want them in the playoff because when USC or TCU loses, I am praying for some kind of scenario that puts Ohio State, Michigan again in the first round, or maybe the national championship. You never know. It's going to be an interesting one, though. The polls come out tomorrow. The rankings released tomorrow. The second to last rankings doesn't really mean a whole hell of a lot, but the reason tomorrow means a lot is you do got to pay attention. Don't sit there and think I'm just stirring the pot. To sit there and act like Ohio State at 4 is just, it's impossible. It's possible. I already told you how it's possible. It's about tomorrow at this point. Well, you can't put them in over a Pac-12 champion in USC. Well, USC is not a Pac-12 champion yet, so I don't know what the hell that means. I keep seeing that in the comments section. You can't put them in over USC if they're a Pac-12 champion. I agree with you, but the Pac-12 championship's not till this weekend. Tomorrow's freaking Tuesday. Smarten up, people. It's not that hard to figure out. The rankings come out tomorrow for what just happened this past weekend. Georgia 1. Obviously, Michigan 2. TCU should move up to 3. They give TCU credit, by the way. They finally won impressively this past weekend. Like, I know a win's a win, but they pummeled their opponent this past weekend. That's what I find fascinating too. Like, do they all of a sudden now, like, they're starting to cruise and roll? They look out for TCU. How wild would that be to see TCU run the table here and win this whole thing? It'd be crazy. I don't think it's going to happen, but then again, I've been saying all along, they're not winning out, and yet here they are, 1 win away from the playoff. We'll see what ends up happening. 518-1410. It's the number to call and jump in on the show. All right, I got to bring him on the show. His team won yesterday. Mr. Shaw, welcome.
How you doing, brother?
Oh, see, how come every other time you call, you say, hey, how are you? But today, how you doing, brother? Like, oh, you happy because your team won or something? My goodness.
Because my team didn't just beat the living dog crap out of the Buckeyes. That's why I'm this happy. Normally not this happy. That's why.
That's fair. All right, what do you got?
I got a question for you, actually. I can talk about the game all day long, but I think this is more important. Do you see any scenario at all where we could be number 1?
I thought about this yesterday. I hate to give them any credit. I think they should be number one. Their win's more impressive than anything Georgia has at this point. Georgia had the most impressive win for the longest time, but not TCU. I'm sorry, but Tennessee losing the way that they did. It's not just that they lost another one since then, but they got just absolutely pummeled. I think there is an argument to put them at one. I don't think that they're going to, but I would be screaming for it. I think that, Michigan undefeated the whole time, just like Georgia. But if you're talking about splitting hairs, if you're saying that Georgia's number one and you're going to ignore about what Michigan just did, I think that's just tone deaf at that point. But that's what the committee will do. Georgia will be one. But to be fair to you and to Michigan fans, because I've been having my fun being childish and petty today, there is a 1,000,000% chance that there is a good argument to be made about putting them at one, and I wouldn't fight it.
With JJ finally deciding to be a 5-star quarterback like what we brought him in for, that's with us adding that passing game dimension is the reason why I say it. And I know I didn't get to call in last week and talk to you about what I thought my thoughts were of the game, but where I was 50-50 was, and the only reason why was because I did not have faith that Harbaugh would make the adjustment that he wound up making. Meaning, I was worried that Corum wasn't going to play. At the time, last week at this time, I didn't know Donovan Edwards was going to play because no one knew what his injury was at the time. So I thought the running game was going to be trash. To be fair, the running game was trash until late third-ish, fourth quarter. But that's also because JJ hadn't been throwing the ball. So you guys played the defense the way you needed to play defense. You loaded the box, you brought your safeties down, which exploited everything else. You guys go zero blitz. Our quarterback plays like a 5-star. We throw a route to the outside. We break one tackle. He's gone. Next time we get the ball, double move. Safety's not there because he's blitzing. Touchdown. Now you guys have to respect the passing game. The reason the runs opened up in the second half, we caught you in cover 2 because now JJ's been running. So that is why I think they could be the number one team in the nation. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to do it just yet. I see it happening possibly if Georgia struggles against LSU. They won't, but if they do, and Michigan does what they're supposed to do against Purdue.
Oh, you mean like this weekend? I mean, this weekend, yeah. If Michigan wins big, which they should, and let's say LSU does some weird stuff, and ends, Brian Kelly. I know people don't like Brian Kelly, but the reason that LSU is able to sneak up, keep in mind, LSU has a bad roster, and they are playing very good football. He's a very good football coach. I like Brian Kelly a lot. People hated on him for ditching Cincinnati, so they were never going to give him a fair shot at Notre Dame. Not that he needed them to give him a fair shot, but the bottom line is a lot of the hatred of him going to the SEC was because of what he did to Cincinnati over a decade ago. But bottom line is the fact that he has them playing that well, it just shows you how important coaching is. So good for him. But let's just say he does something crazy and, you're right, maybe plays close. I don't think Georgia's going to lose their spot at all, even if they have a close one with LSU. But at the same time, if they lose to LSU, now that's the chaos that I'm talking about. But every time college football lets me down on conference championship weekend, I need some damn chaos. That's what we need. Probably won't, but I'll be so pissed if we go chalk, not just because Ohio State won't get in. I want the committee to have to make a tough decision. And right now it's looking like their decision is not going to be that difficult. It's if everyone wins out, if it's chalk, if TCU and USC and Georgia and Michigan win, there you go. Those are your 4. It's pretty dang simple as far as that goes. So we'll see.
Right. And which I kind of see for happening. I don't know if you brought it up yet because I had to get off for a little bit, so I didn't hear it. I haven't heard everything. But talking about
the tunnel, how is your guys' fault?
I explained that in the chat. Go read that one. Talking about UC, did you feel the same way about Brian Kelly and all the other coaches that left early?
Yes, I say that. I say that every year. I say it about every coach and every player. The bowl game is still a part of the season. You don't quit on your team. You don't quit on your team. I mean, some of these guys. I don't even know why. Why it just I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. I think Luke Fickle quit on the Bearcats. You got him this far. Not because he took the Wisconsin job. It's because there's still a game left on the damn schedule. Not yelling at you right now. I'm just yelling in general because I'm sickened by it because I'm tired of it. Fickle's been given the benefit of the doubt for a couple years now that he's this loyal man. He's always had keeping an eye out there, which he should, but I thought that maybe Cincinnati going to the Big 12 was going to be enough to keep him. I thought they should have. They were paying him $5 million a year. He's going to get $6 million a year at Wisconsin. I think it's absolutely ridiculous what he did to take $1 million a year more. Cincinnati's going to the Big 12. He's a part of the reason why they're going to the Big 12 because of the level of which he got him to. And then he bails on him and doesn't see the transition all the way through. Not completely mad at him that he leaves Cincinnati, doesn't see it all through, but the fact that there's one game left. And that is just a horrible message to the kids. This is why I don't like when people get mad at the players anymore, because I'm like, well, we sit there and say, oh, it's a smart move for when the coaches do it, but when the players do it, they're bad and selfish. No, I think the players are selfish when they do it. I think the coaches are selfish when they do it. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. But I hate it. I can't stand it. I do not like Luke Fickle, and I don't like him even more now. I'm in the minority on that. That's fine. I hope he fails at Wisconsin, and I can't wait for Ohio State and Michigan to kick his ass every year, or at least every other 4 years whenever they meet up. Get rid of divisions. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I don't know if I changed my opinion because it was happening so much, but I at one point I agreed 100% with you. When there's games still to be played, I could not stand, but it was starting to happen so much, and so many jobs opened up. I understood the argument that if they sat back and waited, they weren't going to get that job. The only caveat to that was it sounds like Fickle was Wisconsin's man. You're sure he only is getting paid $6? Because I heard he was getting paid somewhere between $7 and $9.
I mean, if it's $7 and even if it's $7, that's $2 million a year more. It's not like he left to go to 8 or 9. I mean, hell, Mel Tucker is making stupid money out at Michigan State. Now, technically, he got that raise, so that's kind of why that happened as well. But anyway, the point is, and Shaw, cut you off. Thank you for the call. We're behind because I'm rambling a lot today. As far as that goes. The Wisconsin thing, bottom line, it's Wisconsin. It is not like Notre Dame. Like, for instance, I would have understood. I do think that there are certain schools that you got to just be selfish with. You know what? I love what I've done. If I'm Luke Fickle, I love what I've done here with the Bearcats. We've come so far. But the Notre Dame job opened up, and that's a dream job. What if Ryan Day got fired after the Michigan game and Gene Smith tells him, you know what? Hey, Fickle, the job's yours, but you got to take it now. Guess what? I support that. It's the Ohio State University. It's Notre freaking Dame, right? There are certain schools that you can forgive some of these decisions for. But Wisconsin, Luke Fickle, I've been calling him a phony for years. You guys have all been mad at me for years because I've been calling him a phony. When that article came out about how loyal Luke Fickle was to the Cincinnati Bearcats a couple years ago when he picked the Bearcats over Michigan State, I about puked. He didn't pick Cincinnati over Michigan State. He picked the safer program that didn't have sanctions coming down on it. Remember when Mel Tucker took the job? It was a late hire. It was a very late hire because no one else wanted it. Luke Fickle was on a jet with his family heading there. Everyone thought that he was about to take it. And then he comes back. They do the big press release. And then everyone's oohing and ahhing. Oh, man, gosh, this is what makes Luke Fickle special. Because he picked the Bearcats over Michigan State. He picked the Bearcats over a program that had potential sanctions coming down, and we didn't know what the hell it was. And y'all morons, oh, God, he's so loyal. He's so loyal. He wasn't loyal. He was smart. He picked a school that he was going to win some games with next year as opposed to going to a school that was going to potentially take a bunch of scholarships away. No, he was very methodical in how he did it, and he would have bailed on the team last year had they not been in the playoff. You're like, well, he didn't do this last year. Well, because by the time, think about it right now. If the Buckeyes would have been picked over the Bearcats last year to be in the college football playoff, he would have probably bailed on them as well and taken another one. There was a lot of big jobs open last year. But he didn't because the playoff, you don't play until late December, early January. By that point, all the other big jobs have been taken because I hate the fact that there's not some kind of rule of, maybe there should be a date of when you could start hiring new coaches. I hate that it's just a free-for-all because it forces guys like Fickle and others to make these selfish decisions, which I don't like. But no, Luke Fickle, I'm sorry. You sold your soul to Wisconsin? That's why you turned your back on those kids at Cincinnati? Oh, Luke Fickle built that there. No, those damn kids built that there that went and believed in the garbage he was spewing. come here, let's make Cincinnati something special. No, come here, let's make me special so I can get the hell out of here, even though we're going to the Big 12. And by the way, if Cincinnati was an American conference school, okay, if they were an American conference school still, if they were still in the American, and I know technically they are right now, but you guys know where they're heading. If they were still in the American and there was no announcement of them going to the Big 12 and he did this, once again, I wouldn't like that he leaves with the game left on the schedule but I would get it. It's the American. Get to the Big 10. You're going to the Big 12. And the Big 12 is not a powerhouse. You can go there and have success if you are as good as what you say you are. But I have a feeling he's more of a Scott Frost. I'm telling you now, he will fail at Wisconsin. He is Scott Frost. Because everything that was said about Scott Frost back when he left UCF to go take the Nebraska job, we're saying about Luke Fickle. Man, the players just love playing for him. UCF players love playing for him. Man, he's a player's coach. He just gets the game. Scott Frost got the game too at UCF. And look what he did. Just saying. Like, we got to stop this whole nonsense of Luke Fickle. He is Scott Frost, and it will result in the same as Scott Frost. I don't care. I know that's everyone's baby around here, Luke Fickle, because he's once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye. But if you guys are going to crap on the actual Buckeye head coach, who's gone 45-5, been to a national championship, won multiple Big Ten championships, been to multiple college football playoffs, won coach of the year. If we're going to crap on that guy, but this guy that just bailed on his team in the middle of a season, no, I'm sorry, not middle, but still one game left. I don't know. Luke Fickle, that was wrong. You didn't leave Cincinnati for Notre Dame. You didn't leave him for an Alabama or Ohio State. You left him for Wisconsin. Shame on you. That's embarrassing. And to only take $1 million more a year, it's not like the money was just, he couldn't resist it. He was going to get whatever job he wanted. You know what I mean? Imagine being the hottest free agent coach commodity, not really a free agent, but imagine being the most sought after up and coming coach in college football and picking Wisconsin. I don't know. Scott Frost 2.0. That's all I got to say. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today, use my promo code Kinner, Kinner. Then you will be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all of your favorite teams and all of your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. I think that's pretty cool. All you got to do is download the app. When you register, you use my promo code Kinner, my last name, Kinner. And then you're going to have $100 in free bets waiting for you in your account when sports betting goes live here in the state of Ohio. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It is safe, it is secure, and it is super easy to use. Come on, Dayton. This is your chance to get in on the action. Use my promo code Kinner when registering your account today, Kinner. Have $100 in free bets waiting for you. Come on, it's a heck of a deal. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Today on Hey Culligan, soft water, cleaner environment. What do you say, Greg?
Hey Culligan, are you saying if I have a Culligan high-efficiency water softener, I'm also helping the environment?
It sounds like you're saying it, Greg, and yes, you are, because with the Culligan high-efficiency water softener, you'll use less detergent, soap, and harsh chemicals, and that's good for the planet.
Now you're saying it.
You bet I am, Greg. Soft water and a cleaner environment is already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Missed Black Friday? Dell's Cyber Monday event starts now with deals on powerful tech to power every passion. The savings start now with up to $500 off on select sleek XPS laptops and Alienware PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget, special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything and monthly payment options with Dell Preferred Account. Just call 877-ASK-DELL for Cyber Monday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Buckeye football season is back. That means tailgating and parties for the big game. You need the Lee's famous recipe Buckeye Bucket. It comes with 25 pieces of the delicious jumbo breast strips for only $44.99. Of course, you can add a few of their famous country side items, buttermilk biscuits, gallons of fresh brewed Lee's iced tea, or lemonade. You have the perfect recipe for a tailgate. or watch party. Cheer on the Buckeyes this weekend with a Buckeye Bucket. Order today.
Freaking chicken chunks, freaking chicken chunks, freaking chicken chunks, freaking chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of freaking chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits a $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 freaking bonus bucks free. Let them get what they really want.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. The emergency alert system has been designed to provide the public with timely warnings and emergency information. Had this been an actual emergency, you would have received instructions and information related to that emergency. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system.
Ohio, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with code WING1410 to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regularity licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day. DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at DKNG.co/OH.
Dell's Cyber Monday business sale starts now with up to 50% off on select business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
All right, and we are back. I'm Justin Kinner hanging out with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live on Facebook. I appreciate everyone who hangs out with us on the Facebook side of things, the Justin Kinner Show. Make sure you follow the show page, like, subscribe, do whatever you need to do. ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, same thing. Subscribe to that. That's where you can watch the show and jump in on the conversation in the chat section. Or, of course, you could just give us a call at 518-1410, 518-1410. Talking about Luke Fickle taking the job at Wisconsin. Luke Fickle was at some point going to take a bigger and better job. Now, some guy on Facebook, his name, or at least his Facebook name, I don't know what his real name is, but his Facebook name is some guy. He says, who says that Luke Fickle is the most wanted so-called analyst? He went, 7-5 with a loaded Buckeye roster when he replaced Tressel. So I'd go on a limb and say that he wasn't that hot of a commodity for him to pick cold-ass Wisconsin. First of all, no, I don't think he was a hot commodity after that Ohio State season. When he went to Cincinnati, I was like, well, that's a good little spot for, in the American Conference for him to make a name for himself. And kind of, you know what I mean? Urban did that at Bowling Green, and then he went to Utah and then to Florida. So I thought that this would be his Utah, or that this would be his, his Bowling Green. But, he did a lot. Fickle did a ton with Cincinnati. I'm not going to downplay the success that he had with the Bearcats. I love what he did with the Bearcats. But at the same time, this idea that he made the Bearcats what they are and not that them making him what he is, I think it was just a very perfect storm, if you will. UCF, the same thing. I think Gus Malzahn overall is a better coach than Scott Frost, but Scott Frost just fit there. He got more out of UCF than Malzahn has. Malzahn's a better coach, in my opinion, but Scott Frost he was maximized at UCF. I think that's going to be Fickle. Fickle, I know everyone says at Ohio State, he just wasn't ready for it. I don't know what that means. You either have it or you don't. Who's a coach that proved to be not ready for it at one point and is ready for it now? I can't think of one. Urban was ready for every opportunity that he got, and he maximized it everywhere he went. Some coaches are really good at coaching those in-between teams, like a Cincinnati team. Maybe, I don't know. The other reason I think that Fickle was not confident in his ability to coach the Bearcats in the Big 12 is one reason that he bailed is because at the same time he knew, like this is what I always say about coaches if they're confident or not. Like I always say this about Archie Miller. If Archie Miller, when he was at Dayton, was confident that he had a very good class coming in, that he would be able to replicate what he did with Scoochie Smith and Kendall Pollard and company, he probably would have stayed at Dayton moving forward, right? Like, it's not like he had one, I always said if a coach gets that one recruiting class that is special to him, that he can make a name for himself, which is what Archie did at Dayton with that Scoochie Smith and Kendall Pollard and company class, right? Like, he had that. And I was like, well, this is how you know you can coach or not. This is how you could tell if a coach is confident that he can win or not, is because Archie knew he wasn't confident enough to stay at Dayton for one more recruiting class. That's why he went to Indiana. Because he knew, hey, I got not lucky, that's kind of disrespectful, but he was fortunate to get that Scoochie class put together and build them up to be the contenders that they were. He was not confident in his ability to replicate it and do it again. That's why he left for Indiana. Now you're probably saying, no, he went to Indiana because of the money. Dayton was ready to make him a top 10 compensated coach. Now, I don't know what that means because they worded that very kind of odd. Like instead of just saying, hey, we were going to make him a top 10 paid coach, he was going to be a top 10 compensated coach, like I'm sure with all the bonuses and everything else. I don't really know all the behind the scenes stuff. Dayton was going to pay him. Maybe Dayton wasn't going to pay him. Maybe they just agreed to like, hey, we're going to say that we were going to pay you, but really we wish you well at Indiana. I don't know. That was old news. Who cares? Point is, he wasn't confident that he could replicate what he did. That's why he also left. And I don't think that same thing. I don't think that when you look at Fickle at Cincinnati, I don't think he was confident that he could replicate what he did at Cincinnati in the American. He had zero confidence that he could do it at Cincinnati in the Big 12. That's why he left. If Cincinnati wasn't going to the Big 12, and he left, no, I don't blame him because you should want to go. I don't think Wisconsin is that much of a better job than Cincinnati. And actually, if you ask me, which school has a better brand right now in football? Oh, definitely Cincinnati. For the time being, a Big 12 school now, in a recruiting hotbed here in Ohio and fringe Kentucky and everything else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think Fickle is a fraud, and I think he'll be exposed when he gets to Wisconsin. So more power to him. All right, where did that go? I saw, let me see. Where did this? I'm looking. We're live on Facebook. I'm trying to find it here. Brian McCoy had asked a question about the Browns, and it's time to talk a little NFL. I just wanted to segue into it reading his question, but anyways, switch over to the NFL. So the Browns, they get this big win over Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know what the hell that win means. I don't really know what to make of this Browns season, to be quite honest with you, because while some people are talking about 4-7, and now they're getting Deshaun Watson back, and look, there's light at the end of the tunnel. They're 4-7, and they're right now they're sitting at number 13 in the AFC. The top 7 make the playoffs, and the Jets and the Bengals and the Bills are all at 5, 6, and 7 right now. The Bills are trending downward because of the injuries on the defensive side of the ball of the Bills and the fact that, I'm not even sure if Josh Allen is technically even allowed to be playing football, but they're letting him play anyway, so there's that. But this is big for Cleveland getting Deshaun Watson back for a lot of reasons, and I don't think a playoff push is honestly realistic to expect. Here's why. They're 4-7. Let's say they win their next 6 games, which is very unlikely, but let's say they go 6-0 over their final 6. That puts them at 10-7. Here's the problem. You got the Colts, or you got the Chargers 6-5, the Patriots 6-5, and the Jets 7-4 that you're going to be all competing with for that 7th spot. Okay? The Jets beat you. The Patriots already beat you. The Chargers beat you. I was in Cleveland watching that one. It still haunts me to this day. I think that for Cleveland, you would have to rely on the Chargers to just collapse, the Patriots to collapse, and the Jets to collapse. And they would have to collapse so bad that they would have to make up a 3-game gap that's already between them. Like, the rest of this season is not about the playoffs for the Browns. Could they F around and find out? Possibly. You know what I mean? Could they accidentally find themselves in a playoff hunt? Possibly. But I think that they're going to do what they're going to do is they're going to mathematically get back into it, but they're not going to realistically get back into it, if that makes sense. The rest of this season for the Cleveland Browns is about Deshaun Watson going out there, showing that he's still that guy that he was in 2020. Everyone out there that said there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that need their number one wide receiver to be an elite quarterback like Joe Burrow. The Bengals have played really good football. He's had one elite game since being without Jamar Chase. He might get his safety blanket back coming up this weekend against the Chiefs. We'll talk about the significance of that coming up here in a moment. Then there's Deshaun Watson, who technically his best season ever was without Hopkins, which was in theoretically his Jamar Chase, right? There's some quarterbacks that elevate whenever they lose their top weapon. They're going to have success no matter who's around them. Then there's other quarterbacks that have success, that have talent around them, but when they lose that number one safety blanket, they don't look the same anymore. That's not Deshaun Watson. His best season ever in the NFL was that one season that he didn't even have Hopkins, and that was back in 2020. Hopkins is 27 years old. I'm so tired of hearing the fact that, he hasn't played in 2 years. He's going to be a bust. Be a bust. He signed a 5-year contract. He didn't play for 2 years. I don't care if he looks very average for 3 weeks. If it takes him 3 weeks to return to top 5, so be it. If it takes 4 weeks, so be it. He's here for 5 years. He's 27 years old. The dude did not forget how to play football. He's in his freaking prime, dudes. Like, for those out there that want to hate on Deshaun Watson, you could hate on the stuff that he's involved in off the field. More power to you. I would agree with you. I'm not here condoning that. We're having a quarterback conversation. We're not having a moral conversation, which all of you, by the way, when you look at Jackson Carman and you look at Joe Mixon and you look at some of the other guys that you support on your team, don't sit there and act like you're a holier-than-thou individual that is not capable of overlooking personality flaws when it comes to supporting your football team. So don't try to paint me to be this horrible person. Someone sent an email to me or to my boss and CCing me on it, saying, how could they employ somebody that supports someone with all of the allegations against him? And it shows, what kind of person my bosses are and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you guys are idiots. All of you. Like, to stretch it that far. That's why everyone's like, why do you always put out the disclaimer when you talk about the Browns? Because of idiots like that. And the idiots that probably agree with that guy. That's why. But bottom line is we're talking about Deshaun the quarterback. Deshaun the quarterback, he hasn't played in 2 years. He's 27 years old. If you think that he's going to come to Cleveland and not have an immediate impact, that's just you being a hater. It's not that you think that's going to happen. That's just what you want to happen. You don't think that Deshaun's going to be a bust. You just want him to be a bust. But there's nothing out there to indicate that that's going to be the case, and that's what drives you guys mad. You know how I know this, Bengals fans? You know how I know that you're a little concerned about Deshaun Watson coming back, even though you shouldn't be, because you're going to make the playoffs this year. The Browns aren't. I don't know why you care so much about who the Browns quarterback is, because the Browns aren't making the playoffs. The Browns, they might beat you again coming up here in a few weeks, but they're not going to be in your way. You're going to make the playoffs. You're playing really good football right now. So why is it when I post about my Browns winning yesterday, does my feed fill up with a bunch of moronic Bengals fans taking shots at Deshaun Watson when he didn't even play yesterday? Explain that to me, because you know what I mean? Like, you know how many teams out there have quarterbacks that I don't think are squat, that I don't take the time to go tell them because I don't really care. I care about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's the guy that impacts me. He can impact my team's ability to make the playoffs. Not this year. They're not making it anyways, but moving forward. But it's Deshaun Watson against Joe Burrow for the next 10 years. And I'm here for it. And I'm here for the smack talk. I'm here for it all. But I at least can admit that a lot of my back and forth comes from the fact that I love the rivalry that's brewing between the two teams. There's a respect there for the quarterback. And at the end of the day, do I think he's as good as Deshaun Watson? I do not. I do not. Joe Burrow, the last 4 games, he's had one really, really good game without Jamar Chase. One. That's it. One. Luckily, the defense was there to kind of slow down Ryan Tannehill, by the way, yesterday. But I'm telling you, Deshaun Watson's better than Joe Burrow. Deshaun Watson will need a game or two to kind of get his feet back to him, but he'll be fine. He can make plays with his arms. He can make plays with his legs. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL when he left, and he'll be back there in no time. I'm just saying. You guys can call me a hater all you want, but it's just the reality of it. The reason I know y'all are worried about it, I posted about my Browns yesterday. My whole feed blows up with why Deshaun's going to stink. And I'm like, Deshaun has nothing to do with them beating Tom Brady and the Buccaneers yesterday. What does that have to do with anything? Y'all are worried, and it shows. Focus on your team that's in the playoff hunt right now, that will make the playoffs. That is better than the Browns right now, and you should be. You have a roster that went to the Super Bowl last year. Taking shots at the Browns for being 4-7. What would the Bengals record be if they didn't have Joe Burrow for 11 games? Let's just be clear. 518-1410. We'll get to the Bengals win over the Titans yesterday. We'll take a look at the playoff picture for what that means for the Bengals. I'm not here to hate on the Bengals the rest of the hour. I was just kind of getting back at some of the people that were coming at me because I'm a child too. But the Bengals have a big one coming up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Sometimes things are interesting. Like this is a matchup that I see. The Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. The Chiefs are the Super Bowl favorites. But just like the Browns are that weird matchup for the Bengals, that no matter how good the Bengals are, they can't seem to beat the Browns. Is that what the Bengals are to the Chiefs? 518-1410. No matter how good the Chiefs are, and no matter what the gap is between them and the Bengals, and there is a gap, the Bengals always seem to get the best of them, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool that Joe Burrow and the Bengals seem to have Patrick Mahomes' number because no other team seems to have his number the way the Bengals do. Is that narrative for real, or was it just 2 lucky games last year? I'm here to tell you, I don't think it was luck. I think that the Bengals have Patrick Mahomes' number, and I'm actually picking the Bengals to win this week. We'll talk about that. 518-1410, 518-1410. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
For your weather forecast, today cloudy skies and a high of 46. Tonight it will be cloudy with a low of 41 degrees. And for tomorrow, clouds early with sunshine later in the day, high of 61. I'm Eddie Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Traveling, volunteering, spending time with family. What's your retirement look like? With income planning from Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor can help you grow and protect your wealth. They'll look at your full financial picture and help you create a flexible strategy that considers things like market conditions and healthcare expenses, so you can stop worrying about the future and enjoy whatever comes next. Visit fidelity.com/income planning. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE SIPC.
Tomorrow on Fox.
Wow! Oh my goodness!
The Stars and Stripes must come out strong in a huge World Cup group stage clash.
And he just rifles this home.
Christian Pulisic once again leads the U.S. Young Guns.
Now that is magnificent!
As they take the field for a crucial showdown against Iran.
A moment of magic!
USA, Iran. Coverage begins tomorrow at 1 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Make the big game sound even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors, short throw projectors from 100-inch to 130-inch, all the way to your high-end dream system. Audio Etc has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back-ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on a TV and your dream system today. Audio Etc can bring any big game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. If you can't afford your dream system, check out our huge selection of vintage and pre-owned components. Audio Etc, powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. 551 Congress Park Drive in Centerville.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. If you've been waiting to buy, now is the time. 2022 Honda Pilots with financing as low as 1.9%, 2022 Honda Passports and 2023 Ridgelines with financing as low as 2.9%, and all in stock for immediate delivery. We will save you money today. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for all the details. We're located Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek. The right car, the right price, the right way. I hope to see you soon.
Qatar, here we come.
Christian's travel agency has one
All right,
goal.
talk to you soon.
The world's biggest soccer tourney.
The hotel is 7 miles from the stadium. Are you serious? Did you email the transportation company?
Now he needs an Arabic interpreter on his roster.
I don't speak it either.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Sure, we have 30 seconds to tell you that drivers who switch to Progressive could save big. But then what? Well, radio has been called theater of the mind, so let's tell a story with sound effects. Wow, it's like I was in the story. Almost makes me forget this was supposed to be about saving big with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Where can you Black Friday even more for even less? Lowe's, actually. Black Friday is here. Get all the deals on tech, tools, gifts, and more while you still can, only at Lowe's.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinnerback with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio, 518-1410. 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. The AFC playoff picture looks vastly different right now. Things are starting to kind of heat up a little bit. Look, we're down to the final 6 weeks, and there is just a big jumbled mess. Really starting there, kind of about where the Bengals are at 7-4. They're the 6th seed right now, but from 6 down, it is just one big jumbled mess. Look, here's why I feel good about the Bengals. I don't feel good about the Bengals for all the reasons you guys feel good about the Bengals. I feel good about the Bengals for the real reasons they're winning and not the make-believe reasons that you guys think. You guys think Joe Burrow is just this god that is leading you to this stuff, and he's playing very good football, but he is not this MVP quarterback that you guys think he is. They're winning because of their defense and defense alone right now. Joe Burrow did not have a good football game yesterday. I look, he overthrew some guys. He underthrew some guys. We got to stop and just say, last week he has a habit of doing this where when he doesn't have a great game, he's quiet, crickets. But when he has a good game, he says stupid things like, I know who I was, or I know who I am, or whatever the dumb line is that he used. And then doesn't have a good game yesterday, and we don't hear anything about it. I don't even know what that means. I am who I thought I was. Thank you, some guy on Facebook. Bro said, I am who I thought I was, and then goes 22-37 for 270 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, let's not act like the Titans is some I keep hearing about how dominating the defense is for the Titans. They have a good pass rush, but they're like the 3rd worst passing defense in the NFL. And those are usually the teams that he bullies. He always bullies the teams that are bad in the passing, defense. But they won yesterday because that defense, I love Hendrickson. I'm telling you now, between Hendrickson and Hilton, there are a lot of guys on that Bengals defense that I would kill for. People that you're just jealous of the Bengals. I'm not jealous of the Bengals for the reasons y'all think. All right. From a quarterback perspective, I will take Deshaun Watson over Joe Burrow. That's not a hot take. You'll hear it that way. You'll take it that way. You'll accuse me of being a homer. You're about to find out here over the next 6 games why that's the case. A quarterback that can throw and make plays with his legs. And I don't mean Joe Burrow picking up a first down here or there, but I mean, you're like, I'm telling you, the Browns are going to be really, really good with Deshaun Watson, like really good. And not, oh, I'm dependent on one wide receiver good. I mean, like, hey, we're going to use our whole offense good. Just saying. Y'all can take that how you want. Don't really care. The Bengals are winning right now because of that defense. Ryan Tannehill's not a very good quarterback. All right. But, Derrick Henry did move the ball at times, but the Bengals did a very good job. Everything that was said about the Titans defense is the Bengals defense. The Bengals get overshadowed so much because of the over-the-top personality of their quarterback that the real reasons why they win football games, they don't get enough credit and attention. This is a team that has offensively been beat up most of the season, but there's one consistency about them, and that's that defense. They had one bad game against the Browns. The games that they've lost have been because the offense didn't show up. They lost to the Steelers because the offense didn't show up, not the other way around. They lost to the Browns because the offense didn't show up. They had a bad game defensively. I'm sorry. The Browns game is the one that the defense did not play well against, but against everyone else, that defense is not bad. I love the Bengals defense. They hit you hard. They get to the quarterback, man. Like, I love their quarterbacks. Like Eli Apple, I can't stand, but at the same time, like, I've never seen a guy have a range of being really, really good one week and really, really bad the next. The Browns have a lot of guys that are just average, right? Like, they're secondary guys. Like, when we talk about like Newsom and some of these, they're just okay. They're not, I know it might be a hot take as well. I'm not a fan of giving Eli Apple big money, but Eli Apple makes as many bad plays as he makes. Don't get me wrong. He makes a lot of good plays as well. But I love Mike Hilton. I love Hendrickson. I love the Bengals defense. That's why they're 7-4 right now. The Cincinnati Bengals, as I talk about, so in the playoff picture right now, the Kansas City Chiefs come in. They're the 1 seed as of right now, 9-2. The thing about the Chiefs to keep an eye on, have they peaked? The Bills peaked. A lot of teams, there's a question about the Eagles, although, they didn't look good in their win against the Packers, but they're 10-1. So, but the Eagles aren't winning in dominating fashion like they were to start the season. There's talk of them peaking, but their schedule's not that great, so they can kind of hide behind that a bit. There are teams that have peaked. And I think some of those teams, including the Bills, now the Bills are injury, ridden a little bit, but the Dolphins, I'm saying the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins, it's those two teams and everybody else. And the only reason I'm willing to entertain the idea of putting the Bengals up there with them is not because of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It's because of that defense. I love the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are the most underrated team in football right now. Tua Tagovailoa is the second best quarterback in the NFL right now. I don't know heading into an offseason, would I say if I had to rank the quarterbacks in the offseason, Tua's number 2. I don't know if I can go there yet, but I'm pretty damn close. Tua right now, though, this season, he is better than Joe Burrow. He's been better than Josh Allen. There's only one quarterback that he has not been as good at, and that's not even a shot. That's Patrick Mahomes, and it's 1A and 1B at that point. I don't know how you could trash a dude that does exactly what Joe Burrow does. Oh, well, Tua's only good because he has Tyreek Hill. When you take Tyreek Hill away, he's not as good. Oh, good. When you take Jamar Chase away, guess who's also not good? Or that good, I should say. Joe Burrow's good. He's just not as good as you guys think. Tua is the real freaking deal. I'm a big fan of what the Dolphins are doing. I love what they do on both sides of the ball. And their coach is pretty badass too. I don't know what it is about McDaniels, but he has that weird look to him, but man, like he has like that confidence in him too. And that like kind of passes down onto the players, but big fan of Tua, big fan of the Dolphins and what they're doing in the AFC. Dolphins and Chiefs, 2 best teams in the AFC. There's only one team that's trending up to join them, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals. You know what I mean? Baltimore, 7-4, same record as Cincinnati. Sell all your Baltimore stock. I'm out on Lamar Jackson. I have never been really in on Lamar Jackson, but I'm out on Lamar Jackson. Overrated. Does not deserve $50+ million a year. And as a Browns fan, and this is where Browns and Bengals fans, we can come together and be one on this. We should all be praying to God that the Ravens decide to pay that dude what he wants, because it's a joke that he thinks that he should get that kind of money when he can't throw the football. I'm tired of hearing that they didn't give him weapons. I saw a graphic the other day. Colin Cowherd shared it on his show that from the year that they drafted him, every draft pick in the first and second round has been an offensive lineman, a running back, or a wide receiver. But Baltimore doesn't give him any help. I didn't realize that. I always reference where I get that stuff from just because I'm not trying to pretend like I have this great research team. I'm just glad that there are shows out there that do have research teams. I can go piggyback off them, right? But Colin Cowherd, when he put that graphic out, it kind of changed how I view the Baltimore Ravens and how they're being the scapegoats. Everyone's saying that the Ravens are this horrible organization. They're not helping Lamar Jackson. Shut up. Every draft pick since he's been drafted in the first and second round has been an offensive lineman, a wide receiver, or a running back. Hollywood Brown, or whatever the hell his name is, he demanded to get out because he knew he had a contract year coming up, and he didn't trust that Lamar could get him the ball enough for him to get the money that he wanted to get. Oh, but that's the offensive scheme. No. I mean, yes, that offensive scheme that's going to prevent him from getting the numbers that he wants, that offensive scheme is put in place because of the limitations of their quarterback. The same scheme that when they put it in place for Lamar back in 2018 or 19 or whenever it was, man, the Ravens are such a great organization because they built this scheme around their quarterback. And now the same scheme that they praised the Ravens for building it around their star quarterback is now the same scheme that is holding them back. No, it's not holding him back. It's actually maximizing what limitations or what great things he can do outside of running the football. So Ravens, pay him. My God, just pay him. I'm begging you to pay him. Because the Browns, they paid a lot of money for Deshaun Watson. But what he brings to the table as a running and a passing quarterback, they're going to maximize that more than you're going to maximize a guy just running around making highlight plays for SportsCenter, all while being very average and giving up big plays in the fourth quarter. Because that's what he does. He picks up big plays, makes big plays in quarters 1 through 3, and then when the moment gets tight in that fourth quarter, and there's a reason he disappears in the playoff is because he's not. You got to step up and make a big play with your arm with the game on the line, and he can't do it. Man, I don't know why. What happens to the Ravens in the fourth quarter? I don't understand. It's not that hard to understand. It's just common sense when it comes to football. You need a quarterback that can march you up and down the field and make big plays with the arm. When you're trailing, you don't have time to continue running the football. You got to make big plays with the arm. He can't do it. Well, he doesn't have help. Also his fault. I'm selling my Baltimore Ravens stock. They're plummeting. The Bills are plummeting mainly because, and I'm saying the Bills are plummeting, by the way. They're coming off of a week where they got 2 wins in 1 week, Thanksgiving. They got the win on Sunday and then the Thanksgiving Day win on Thursday, but they didn't look good against the Browns and they didn't look good on Thanksgiving. There's something about the Bills I don't trust, and I think the injury for Josh Allen is going to be exposed even more. I think that they're going to struggle. The Jets, they're having a quarterback controversy. It's week 13. Sorry, I don't buy into it. I'm going to sell my Jets stock. And then the Patriots, I think they're going to be an 8-9 win. They're going to be a 9-win team. They got 3 more wins left in them. But I think that that's where they're going to stay. So I think that the Bengals are the only team. I think when it's all said and done, the Bengals are going to be sitting there as the 3 seed in the AFC. Bengals are really good. I like the Bengals. I like that defense. P. Ryan, there's just something different there with the run game. I don't know what it is with Joe Mixon. I'm not really sure how you could regress that quickly. He's 27 years old also. I don't know how at 27 years old. I know it's the running back, and he's taken a pounding over the years. We've always praised Joe Mixon that with some of the worst offensive lines in Bengals history, when they had nobody, when they were tanking and they weren't winning football games, there was only one guy that they can count on to make them worth a damn, and that was Joe Mixon. It's just unfortunate now that they're ready to kind of take off that he's not his old self. But I have a hard time. I mean, is he injured? Is what's going on? That a guy at 27 years old who was a top 5 running back in the league last year just doesn't have it in him. Not seeing the holes. He doesn't have the same burst. But the Bengals are a good run game away from really being the real deal. But I don't think Joe Burrow's been as impressed. I don't think Joe Burrow got better from 1 year to the next. Joe Burrow's a very good quarterback, but where did Joe Burrow get better? He hasn't. He's the same quarterback as last year, which you're saying was good enough to get us to a Super Bowl. They got to a Super Bowl thanks to the defense and special teams. The defense, the same defense that's winning you football games right now. There's limitations with the Bengals, but there's worse quarterbacks to have. I'm not downplaying it too much. Joe Burrow is very, very good, but he's not as good as you guys think. You guys are winning because of that defense. As far as the Cleveland Browns are concerned, they get Deshaun Watson back coming up this week. They're going to beat the Texans. And here's what's going to happen. They're going to beat the Texans. He's going to have a really good game. I'm going to be real cocky. Browns fans will be cocky. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, man, they don't play the Texans every week after that. Then they got to play some good teams. Look, it's going to be a couple weeks before we know what the Browns offense looks like with Deshaun Watson. But keep in mind, this Browns team is sitting at 4-7. I think they go 4-2 over the last 6. I think they go 4-2 over the last 6. I think they beat the Texans and they beat the Bengals coming up. Then they beat the Ravens. They beat the Saints. I mean, I could see them winning 5 of their next 6, actually, but they're going to be an 8-9 win team. They're going to finish 9-8. They're going to miss the playoffs, be above 500, take that momentum into the offseason, and feel really good about it. If Amari Cooper has had a greater year as he had with Jacoby Brissett, imagine what he's going to do with Deshaun. I mean, and David Njoku, who, by the way, made some big drops yesterday, but made the biggest play of the game. Unbelievable. Imagine him with Deshaun Watson. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I think we're about to see him break out and be a big-time star for Cleveland. I think that's going to happen because of Deshaun Watson. But I hope that, I think what Cleveland really needs to get in the offseason, and this goes for Cincinnati, you need a star tight end. You need to go get tight end, my fault. They need a third option right now. I mean, the Bengals need a tight end. But David Njoku, are we sold on David Njoku? David Njoku, I think, is a big-time playmaking tight end, but he looks more like a wide receiver to me. I'm not sold on David Njoku. I like David Njoku, but I think they need to go. I mean, I love what the Chiefs are doing right now, and there's not a lot of Travis Kelce's out there. You can't just go get a Travis Kelce. I get that. But, man, like a Mark Andrews, I know you can go out and get a Mark Andrews, but, I think they need someone like that is just a go-to guy. And that's something that they don't have at tight end. Last night, the Browns got big plays from David Njoku, but is he is that going to be your clutch go-to guy every week? I'm not sold. He gets hurt a lot. He's not dependable all the time in the clutch. There's times where he disappears. Is that because of Jacoby Brissett? I don't know. I just think that the one position that offensively that the Browns can really improve upon is going to be at tight end. I just don't know how you go about doing it. You have no draft picks. You have really no money in free agency either. But 518-1410, 518-1410, that's the number that you could jump in and get in on the conversation. Ron Howard, where are you at? Mr. Buccaneers fan, where are you at, Ron? You talked all that smack about Tom Brady. Tom Brady lost to the Browns back up. I'm just saying. What's going on, Mr. Ron? Nothing? 518-1410, your thoughts. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code IMPACT at checkout. That's harrys.com, code IMPACT. Enjoy.
At the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission, we help veterans and their dependents navigate the process of applying for benefits administered by the VA. We can assist with VA claims, pensions, and a variety of benefits, including emergency financial assistance, transportation, and legal services. If you are a veteran or a spouse of a veteran, a wide range of services may be available to you, always at no cost to the veteran. We are honored and proud to serve all Miami Valley veterans. Contact us today at 937-225-4801.
2000, 2008, 2022. When it comes to the economy, those are some scary years. .com crash, housing crash, and the roller coaster we're going through right now. It's a dangerous time to not know your numbers. But over 31,000 businesses have the confidence and clarity they need because they rely on NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of financials, inventory, HR, planning, and budgeting. Manage risk, get reliable forecasts, improve margins. Everything you need all in one place. So, how do you prepare for uncertain times? The answer, NetSuite. NetSuite helps you identify rising costs, automate your business processes, and easily see where to save money. That's why 93% of customers say they improved their visibility and control when they upgraded to NetSuite. What are you waiting for? NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program. Head to netsuite.com/radar. netsuite.com/radar.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks, frickin' chicken chunks.
When there's no time to make food for your holiday party, carry out 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $34.99. Give the gift that always fits. A $25 Frickers gift card and get 5 frickin' bonus pots free. Let them get what they really want.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Make sure your home's heating and cooling system is in shape for the season with the experts and community trusted service that you can rely on from William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. We're offering exclusive savings opportunities on the new Lennox system. Call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning at 937-222-8638 today or visit us online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
Hungry for a great time, maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our Philly cheesesteaks, our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House. All right, we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. LA struck a nerve. Charlie Mitchell said that I have brain damage because I think that the success of last year and this year is not on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, yes, of course, he's playing a role in their success, but stop acting. This narrative that the Bengals were just so god-awful without him and now are great with them, when the reality is once they got Joe Burrow, then that's when they spent all the money on adding the pieces on defense. Like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it's not all on him. That doesn't make any freaking sense. You know, when Patrick Mahomes has all the success that he does after they take away his star wide receiver, and they don't have a top 10 defense like you do. Yes, I am very validated in saying that this is a defense winning games for the Bengals more times than not. When the Bengals aren't playing bottom 5 teams in passing defense, who are they beating up on? Hell, last night was against a bottom 5 defense, passing defense, And he threw for 275 yards and 1 touchdown. He had a lot of overthrows, underthrows. Like, we got to stop with this. He has T. Higgins. He has Tyler Boyd. He has weapons. He shouldn't drop off that much because he doesn't have Jamar Chase. Patrick Mahomes is having an MVP season without Tyreek Hill. But look at the 4 games that Joe Burrow has been without Jamar Chase. Really, really bad against the Cleveland Browns. Very, very average against the Panthers. Below average against the Panthers. He threw for like 202 yards. He wasn't even effective at all. 3-1, Charles says. Yes, the Bengals are 3-1. Congratulations. The Bengals are 3-1. Super. Horrible against the Browns. Below average against the Panthers. Fantastic against the embarrassingly bad Steelers. And then they play the Titans yesterday, and thank God P. Ryan in the run game provided some stability on offense, and the defense, shut Derrick Henry and company down. But let me ask you, what happens when Joe Burrow gets paid, Charlie? What happens when he gets paid? And what happens when that defense is no longer top 10? And what happens when they no longer, and I guess technically we're already seeing what happens when they don't have Joe Mixon. That's all I'm asking. What happens then? Is 270 and a touchdown against the Titans with a bad, when the Bengals have a bad defense, is that going to get it done? It's not. It's just not. I'm not a hater. I'm just pointing things out the same way you point things out on my team, and that's okay. But you hate it when I do it to you because it's making sense. Hey, Ron, how are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing, man? Congrats on that win. I'm not a sore loser, but I will admit that we got outplayed.
You got outcoached, and I don't know how you do that against Kevin Stefanski. I'm not a fan of your coach. I don't understand. I get tired of when we do this. Oh, Byron Leftwich is responsible for the success of Tom Brady's stuff. No. Tom Brady's why that team's successful. I don't think you guys have a good coach at all, and I think that's the biggest problem. Tom Brady hasn't been dominant like in years past, Ron, but my goodness, that team still has too much talent to be struggling the way they are, and Tom Brady hasn't been horrible. I think this is on the coach more than anything.
Well, it's kind of noticeable now that when Arians was here, he was an offensive coach.
Yep.
Offensive minded, disciplined. It's like, I don't know if Knowles is running a country club or trying to be buddies or what, but the defense didn't look that good. I mean, they did the best they could to stop you guys, and that was a pretty good dogfight game. That was a good game, but Brady just can't do it all on his own anymore, So
nope, it was surprising. Look, I'm not going to lie. I did not think that the Browns were going to win. I thought it was stunning that they forced overtime, and I'm like, oh, great. Now we got to get our hopes up to lose in overtime. I was stunned that the Browns won yesterday. I was not confident that they would win yesterday, but I said a couple weeks ago over the next 3 games, they had the Dolphins, the Bucks, and the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Bucks. They have to at least win one of those to keep their head above water, and with Deshaun coming back. They won one of them, but man, I don't think it's enough. They're not making the playoffs. They could win 8 to 9 games still, but they're not making the playoffs. But your division is crazy because my goodness, 1 game separates first and last place, and I think it's a lot of bad teams in that division. But the Bucks have the most talent.
Yeah.
They got to get that stuff figured out.
Yeah, the schedule the rest of the way is pretty easy. We got the Bengals at Tampa, which maybe they might start to right the ship a little bit, but I think that they're going to win the division with a losing record, and they're going to host a home game. So you never know. Once you get in the dance, whoever's hot, you got it,
Absolutely. Ron, appreciate the call. Glad you called in. Had the combo after your team lost, after all the smack you talked about my Cleveland Browns. I appreciate it. Folks, that wraps it up for us here today. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz tomorrow. He hops on with us. Kev comes back tomorrow, so I'm sure all of you that don't like me will be extremely happy about that. I know I am. And then ESPN's Heather Dinich, college football playoff reporter. She hangs out with us on Wednesday. We got a jam-packed week. Excited to be back. Have a great night. We'll do it again tomorrow.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have